When he wakes up completely alone in a pitch-black wasteland, the survival game has officially begun. His fire will die in 7 hours. Nearly 1 million other players just woke up the same way. Some are already dying. Meanwhile, the chat channel mocks farming as useless. But he chooses it anyway, unlocking a unique nature talent to work the harsh soil. He nurtures the ground until his little farm comes alive, a mutated bamboo he names Jade. Provides him food, handy tools, a cozy shelter, and buries the wolves that slaughter other players. While everyone else starves in the deep dark, this supposedly useless farmer is thriving. He is never truly alone. If you are enjoying this, drop a like and subscribe. It costs absolutely nothing, and it really helps out. Remember, every great legend starts small. This is how his journey begins. A strange string of robotic voices suddenly wakes him up. Floating words appear before he can even focus, announcing that a survival game has officially begun. His personal system interface is active, and a special newbie gift pack has been delivered. With a numb head and a stiff body, he slowly raises his hands to pat his own skull. He desperately tries to figure out if he is dreaming. The last thing he actually remembers is lying on a cold rock at the peak of a mountain, waiting for a legendary meteor shower. A spectacular event that only happens once in 1,000 years. Now, he is somewhere else entirely. The concept of transmigration slowly drifts up from his sluggish brain. He tries to make sense of it all. As his mind slowly comes online, he looks around. A small fire pit crackles quietly beside him. 6 pieces of firewood are stacked in the gravel. They are propped at odd angles, sending tiny orange sparks popping into the cold air. This tiny circle of warmth is the only thing revealing the rough, gravel-covered ground underneath him. And right beyond that small ring of firelight, there is nothing but pure, total darkness. He forces himself to take a deep, steady breath, trying to calm his racing heart. He tries to read his surroundings, but there is no wind, no sound, and no moon. Not a single star shines overhead, only the crackling fire and a heavy silence press in. In a place this dead, his only solid light is the system information in his head. So he commands the personal interface to open. A glowing screen suddenly materializes before him. The translucent panel hovers in the dark. With a bit of practice, he discovers it responds to thoughts. It expands, shrinks, and folds away the very second he wills it to do so. He begins examining it quietly. Right now, there are 7 main panels available to him. Personal info, map, home construction, inventory, chat, trade, and his active quests. He decides the best way to handle this is to go through them one by one. He opens the map first, but the only visible thing is a tiny icon of a fire pit. A small figure stands right beside it, while the entire rest of the screen is pure white. Drawing from his years of gaming experience, he recognizes this as an unexplored map. There are no terrain features or landforms drawn in yet. Exploring is his only choice. So he moves on and pulls up his personal information panel instead. Most of his stats are currently marked as none or not activated by the system. He is player Yaya Chan, located in Wasteland Zone 7751. His talent is none. His combat power is a measly 8, and his survival profession is still locked. A small note tells him to open the newbie pack for a class selection card. No experience points means his level is completely flat. With an empty skill list, his home is just that temporary fire pit. It will die in 7 hours, and he has exactly 0 survival points. His inventory holds just the newbie pack, hardly a legendary setup. He checks his inventory and finds the 5 empty slots, just as described, along with a small white cloth bag tucked into the first slot, the moment he thinks about pulling it. Out the palm-sized bag appears in his hand, and a quick tug at the drawstring. Opens it, the system narrates the unpacking process, and the cloth bag dissolves once it is empty. He has received 1 bound survival profession. Selection card, 1 bound survival talent card, 5 units of drinking water, 1 cabbage steamed bun, and 10 guaranteed survival points. The points credit at once, the items file themselves into his slots, and a run of soft prompt tones tells him which drops were random and which were guaranteed. Holding the 2 cards, he almost uses the talent card, but he stops himself, deciding to check the chat channel first in case other players have already learned something worth knowing. The system interface offers several categories. The Wasteland chat channel is locked behind a combat power of 10,000 and a profession level of 3, which he obviously doesn't have, not even close. The open channel to him is the Wasteland Zone 77 channel, letting him send 3 messages daily. each capped at 100 characters. A string of numbers hangs above the zone 77. Chat box reading 999,994. He stares because it is. Hard not to assume the count started at a clean million. Think about that. Then 6 people are already dead. Below that, he notices every message shows the speaker's profile picture, including his own at the bottom, and the system tells him the avatar refreshes once a day manually, or once every 3 days automatically. His picture matches his face exactly, black hair grown long enough to fall across his eyes, and he runs his fingers through it, slicking it back a few times, using the avatar window as a mirror before closing it. The chat scrolls past in a flood, and almost at once, he finds the thread about the missing players. One message snaps that those few who died were out of their minds and deserved it. Everyone knew the dark might hold unknown dangers, that someone had been kind enough to warn them, and they walked out. Anyway, cruel as it sounds, he reads it as a warning dressed up as a scolding way of telling the rest of them not to wander. Around that thread, the channel is full of people hunting for lost relatives and crying to go home. Picking through it, he finally finds the practical messages he came for. The players are arguing professions and talents, the mood ranging from despair to bitter advice. One man wails that he awakened a useless, fragrance-overflowing talent he cannot even switch off. Imagine getting swarmed by bees and butterflies at dawn. Absolute nightmare. Another regrets choosing the planting profession, only to roll an ore detection talent he cannot use. The strongest voices push the same line that hunting is the best choice, followed by gathering, that planting and breeding only exists to supply everyone else, and staying rooted in one place means losing everything they built if they ever have to run. He keeps all of it in mind and moves on. The trade interface is still locked, not yet open, which leaves only the last panel, quests. The mission interface holds 3 categories: daily profession missions, random profession missions, and random survival missions, all of them empty until he has a profession. And the daily profession mission line tells him it refreshes at midnight. The clock logs the start of day 1, 12 minutes past midnight. He shuts down his screen and grabs the talent card, wanting to see his draw before choosing a profession. The card shines, and the system notifies him that he has obtained a special talent called Nature Serenity. He reads the description twice to be absolutely certain, since he has absolutely no clue what kind of power this is. It says Nature Serenity channels natural energy to soothe a target or the surrounding plants and wildlife. This is clearly a pure support talent. He tries to activate it, but has absolutely no idea how it works. After a few failed attempts, he gives up and draws a survival profession card instead. The interface presents 4 choices. First is hunting, which earns experience by killing wild prey, with a chance for bonus rewards on every kill. Then there is gathering, which collects wild items for experience and bonus drops. Planting awards valuable experience through both planting and harvesting, giving extra rewards while crops grow and when they are gathered. Breeding works the same way, but with animals. Planting and breeding give the highest experience, but both require a lot of early investment and a completely stable run to actually pay off. He chooses planting. He has never liked running around, especially searching open areas for scraps of food, while constant danger could ambush him at any second. Once he compares planting against breeding, the choice is simple. Plants are quiet, they will not scream at him when they are hungry. The system confirms his selection, unlocks the planting job, opens his daily missions, and adds a special survival shop to his interface. He checks his updated tasks. The system logs the current time as day 1, shortly after midnight. Clear skies, wind level 1, 23 degrees, with sunrise at 8 a.m. and dusk at 6 in the evening. His 3 daily tasks are detailed. First, he must reclaim 10 square meters of soil. Second, sow 10 seeds. Finally, he must complete 3 planting events, each worth 10 or more survival points and the equivalent in profession experience, along with a daily mission reward gift pack. It is generous, but only if he can actually complete them. But wait, reclaiming land requires tools he does not have. He digs through the profession shop and finds exactly what he needs: a planting novice starter bundle containing a reclamation hoe, a planting hoe, and a sickle. It includes 10 random seeds, all for 10 survival points. The 10 points from his starting gift pack are just enough, not a single point more or less, which feels less like luck and more like the system steering his path. He buys The bundle stores the extra items, equips his brand new hoe, and starts working the soil. The heavy manual labor gets easier once he finds his rhythm. The sky overhead remains pitch black, but there is no time to lie down and sleep in a brutal world like this. He decides to push on and finish his daily task as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the chat channel is filled with cries about missing home and family. Truthfully, being separated from his own relatives feels less like a tragic loss and more like a massive relief, but he keeps that quiet thought to himself and keeps digging. The system alerts him that he has reclaimed his first square meter of land, proving a plot does not have to be square to count. Any patch he tills and preps for planting counts toward the final total. The soil here is good, fertile under the scattered gravel on top. He crouches, grabs a handful, and watches the loose earth fall through his fingers. He was dragged out to the fields as far back as he remembers, working land the moment he could walk, until he left home alone at 16 for the city, to finally let his life get a little easier. Looking at the reclaimed field, now listed in his stats as his, he feels something he never expected. Not resentment, but a small settled satisfaction. It turns out it was never farming he hated. What he hated was the helplessness of pouring all that work into ground that would never belong to him. This feels like the day he got his first paycheck after running away to work, the day the money finally landed right in his own hands, entirely his to decide what to do, a joy he still has not forgotten. He stands back up laughing a little and keeps going because this time the label says plainly that it is his. 10 square meters is not actually much, roughly 5 meters by 2, and he works in a slow circle around the fire pit. Glancing at the chat now and then, the posts are thinning out as the people with something to say finish saying it, and every so often the count at the top of the channel ticks. The plot has to reach 30 centimeters deep, but he does not need to keep measuring since the field shows up on his map only when it qualifies, and where it fails to appear, he just digs a little deeper, circling the fire pit. It takes him well over an hour to finish. The system marks the first mission complete and pays out 10 survival points, 10 planting profession experience points, and a daily mission reward gift pack. Then it tells him his experience has unlocked the profession level upgrade details. His personal info now shows his talent as Nature Serenity. His profession is basic planting. His level is at 0 with 10 of 1,000 experience points and a new field line listing a basic field of 10 square meters. Because his inventory is full, the reward pack appears straight in his hand as another little cloth pouch. A quick flick at the drawstring sends its contents into his slots, and the pouch vanishes. It yields 3 random seeds which stack into the slot with the 10 he already had. He tells himself not to expect much from a daily mission pack, and to just plant them to at least knock out the second mission. Watching the seed count climb from 10 to 13, he checks them. The system gives him almost nothing, only that they are basic type seeds. Basic again, like everything else. Basic planting, basic field, basic seeds. But hey, that at least implies that somewhere down the line there will be things that are definitely not basic. The seed in his hand is about the size of a fingertip and perfectly round. He takes up the planting hoe, scoops a shallow hole in the soft earth, and buries it. The moment he crouches to cover the seed, the experience point lands and the seed information appears, telling him it is a dandelion, a medicinal category plant in the seedling stage, harvestable in 3 days and 12 hours. He has no idea what dandelions are good for in this world, but a medicinal herb is welcome all the same. Half a meter on, he digs and buries the next, and it is a carrot, a vegetable harvestable in 2 days. The ones after that are vegetables too. Celery, cabbage, and bok choy. The bok choy only needs a single day, while he hopes for a couple more. After the first 10 go into the dirt, the 11th is hemostatic grass, while the rest are just more vegetables. He stares at the 3 seeds left in his hand and buries them too, since seeds are meant to grow. Instantly, the system tallies his garden: 3 herbs, dandelion, some hemostatic grass, plantain, and a row of celery, carrot, cabbage, bok choy, and peppers. With everything planted, he submits the quest. It clears, rewarding him with survival points, 10 experience points, and a gift box that lands in an empty inventory slot. He pulls the box out, tearing it open to find level 1 wood. It has a tier rating, but more importantly, this is material he can use to build a house now that the soil around his campfire is fully converted into active farmland. He sits back down to scroll through his game interfaces. the global chat, is pretty quiet now, just occasional unanswered questions about professions or unique talents. He decides to open the market tab, which is finally populated. The market is a total mess. Some sell single stray seeds for 10 survival points or a random beast cub for 20 or small seed packs for 52. It is mostly breeding resources with zero standard pricing. Anyone looking to buy has to sift through everything. He filters the search parameters, changing the product category over to gear, and there they are, over 100 pieces of equipment, all basic gear each, offering slight warmth and defense. A basic shirt costs 50 points, shoes cost 200. But the price range is ridiculous. The absolute cheapest starts at 50, while high-end items reach millions. Honestly, these prices are a joke. He chuckles, seeing players either showing off or treating their trade slots as a free, personal storage vault. Everyone only gets 3 of these slots. Once a product gets posted, it stays locked for a 12-hour window. During that time, the only thing to adjust is the price. He notes that gear stats will not register on him until he actually equips a piece. Right now, his starter clothing offers 0 warmth benefits. He pulls up his sleeve, exposing his bare arm to the cold air to test it. Sure enough, nothing happens. No stat boosts, no resistance, just plain cosmetic fabric. They are basic threads meant only for covering up, lacking funds for real gear. He decides to hunker down and wait for sunrise, sitting cross-legged near the dying fire. He closes his eyes and slows his breath, since the global channel is useless and has not explained how to trigger unique abilities, only hinting at meditation. He has to improvise. He simply lets go of his thoughts, trying to listen, trying to sense his surroundings. Initially, his breathing is steady, though his pulse still races. Gradually, his thoughts fade entirely, and time seems to blur. Suddenly, when he opens his eyes, it is already 7 in the morning. Did he just pass out? A quick look at the clock, and the cold ashes proves that several hours. And get this, his status panel confirms this was no ordinary nap. In fact, a system notification quickly confirms his suspicion, stating he successfully activated the talent known as Nature Serenity. The planted grass has accelerated its root growth, pulling in essential moisture, and its severe dehydration status has finally been resolved. The quest tracker updates, marking one of 3 garden crises solved. This talent is actually working. He realizes his talent works like this after all. He knew it could soothe plants and beasts, but the range of it seems far too wide. The more he thinks, the less it feels like simple watering. Instead, it feels as if he motivated the plant to conquer its own thirst. Looking at the little hemostatic grass, he knows it is definitely working hard. Crouching to touch its fresh new leaves, he praises its effort, knowing full well the compliment does nothing. It is 7:52, 8 minutes shy of daybreak. He sits down, takes out a cabbage-steamed bun, and grabs some water to sip slowly. The bun is palm-sized and cold, soft despite the chill, packed with chopped cabbage and only a tiny whisper of salt. It counts as a meal, barely looking bigger than it actually is. He washes it down with the entire bottle of plain, flavorless water, which is about 500 milliliters, and once he finishes, the glass-like bottle simply vanishes without a single trace. At exactly 8 in the morning, the system declares daybreak, kicking off a random survival mission. In a flash, the dark world flips to daytime in a single instant, just like a light switch. He is speechless for a moment, somewhat prepared but still caught off guard. Staring up at the white ball of light in the sky, he wonders if it is a real sun or just an enormous lamp that the game world keeps on a timer. Either way, light has returned, and at last he can see where he is. The wasteland is exactly what the name promised. Desolate plain right before him. It is just flat ground, gravel, sand, and a few hills visible far off. Everywhere he looks, near or far, the place is completely dead. Just a scatter of withered trees stands before him, predictably. The chat channel greets the dawn with a massive wave of despair. Dozens of players cry out about having no water and no prey, claiming this is a death game rather than a survival run. Some wish they had walked into the dark last night instead of waking up to this barren hell. Yet, amidst the endless wailing, a few useful voices cut through, swinging between pure panic and the very first real discoveries. Someone reports saplings spawning nearby and goes to investigate despite the risk of a trap, while another player finds a rabbit burrow but cannot bring themselves to touch a living thing. One person shares the most important tip of all. Even though the survival missions are labeled random, They actually act like beginner quests. Theirs guided them to a nearby treasure chest holding dozens of wood units and a house construction. Blueprint Suluo keeps his chat open while breaking up the hardening soil crust. Round the 13 plants at his shelter, in just a few hours they have pushed out 3 to 5 leaves each, the dirt near their roots turning hard and clumpy, and the sight gives him a strong urge to water them, but no prompt has appeared asking for it, and he will not spend precious drinking water on a plant guest, especially since water is sold solely by players, and the mall stocks only basic tools and weapons. It is fine, he tells himself, nothing serious yet as he tidies the soil around all 13 plants before turning to his quest. The system grants a random survival mission to search his surroundings carefully and locate a hidden supply crate offering a basic house construction blueprint as the reward, which sounds exactly like a free gift. Shouldering his reclamation hoe, he walks toward the nearest withered tree, only to discover upon arrival that the one that looked the closest tree is about 300 meters away. Within 10 meters, a floating tag hops up right over it, marking the dead tree as harvestable. He quickly measures the trunk against his palm and finds it about 20 centimeters thick, far too thick to handle with his bare hands even if it is dead. His only blade is a flimsy harvesting sickle, which is hardly built for heavy chopping. Giving up on the tree, he starts jogging to check the other trees nearby. After checking more than a dozen, he finally spots a supply crate wedged tightly in the fork of a dead tree, hidden under snarled branches. The trunk of this tree runs straight and bare, with the lowest branches starting 4 or 5 meters off the ground. He rubs his hands, pats the rough bark, and loosens his stiff limbs, trying to recall whatever childhood tree-climbing skills he still has left. He leaps, hugging the trunk. He starts working his way up. Instantly, the friction of the rough bark against his bare skin starts to burn. These default clothes are just for show, and looking down at his exposed limbs, he might as well be climbing completely naked. He climbs carefully, his arm strength proving decent enough to share the physical burden with his legs. He reaches the lower branches without tearing himself apart. Hooking one arm around a branch, he reaches for the wooden crate, trying to yank it straight down. No budge. This heavy supply crate is firmly fixed in place. Instead of forcing it, he drops his hoe and sickle onto the ground below to free up his hands. Then he pries the lid open. It gives him 20 units of level 1 wood, 2 multigrain steamed buns, and a random level 1 mutated seed. The items instantly stream into his inventory before he climbs back down to gather his dropped tools. The timber is for shelter and the food is for his stomach. But it is the seed that makes him grin. This tiny little thing is about to change everything. According to the system, it is level 1, mutated and plantable on any open field. Whatever it grows into, he is already happy. He tucks it away to handle later and turns in his quest, curious about what building a house will take. The reward blueprint dissolves into mist the moment he touches it, and the construction information opens in front of him. A basic house requiring 50 units of level 1 wood offers a 2x2 footprint, stands 2 meters tall, and provides a single major benefit: the absolute safety of resting away from prying eyes in the dark. It is a tiny wooden hut, but it is enclosed, which is better than nothing. Since he is still 20 units of wood short, there is no rush, and he decides to plant his seed first. Looking at the bead, he silently hopes this little dot grows well. Naming the plant Little Dot right then, leaving the withered trees behind for now, he carries his tools back near the dead fire pit. He picks a random spot to till a single square meter and plants the level 1 mutated seed. The system awards 10 experience points. Suddenly, a system warning flashes on his screen. Germination is blocked. The seed desperately needs water to sprout, and all he has left is bottled drinking water. He cracks a bottle open, telling Little Dot he knows it is thirsty and to drink up since resources are tight. As he pours, he uses the runoff to rinse the scrapes the tree bark left all over his hands and arms. Once the water soaks in, the dry soil warning fades and the earth bulges up slightly. The instant a vibrant green sprout breaks through, the tag updates to level 1 mutated bamboo in its growth stage. Its mutation direction and growth time are completely unknown, a promising start indeed. He stares at a plump bamboo shoot as thick as a man's thigh, even knowing this world runs on game data. He cannot look away from this fat, sprouting plant. No wonder it was thirsty, poor thing. That tiny bit of water was barely enough to help. Without a real water source nearby, getting a drink is going to be tough for this little plant. he tells it not to rush, to take things easy, and promises that once their shelter has running water, he will bring it plenty to drink. Then he sits cross-legged, resting his hand against the thick outer skin of the bamboo. He closes his eyes, trying once more to tap into a power he barely understands. This time, unlike the lost hours of the night before, the moment he calms down, he feels a faint connection, something he cannot quite name as spiritual energy or mental focus. Through this bond, he senses the roots of the plant slowly stretching outward beneath the dry soil. He keeps his focus shifting closer to the sprout, and the system rewards him, reporting that he has unlocked a passive nature skill called plant observation. His mental strength shoots up, boosting his overall combat power by 3. The sudden chime snaps him right out of his spiritual vision. He slumps, completely exhausted and mentally drained, weak as if all energy was wrung right out of him. Still, he is thrilled because he unlocked a brand new skill and gained 3 points of combat power. Even though that boosts only his mental strength, all of his abilities run on spiritual energy. A bigger pool of power is exactly what he needs. He opens his status panel to read. He cannot help but grin, though the actual skill description is incredibly brief, stating only that plant observation uses spiritual energy to check the growth status of a plant. Overhead, the sun is incredibly bright and warm. He squints, lying down on the ground, as the quiet surrounding area pulls him in. Before he even realizes it, he drifts off into a deep, dreamless sleep, and when he finally wakes to check the time, more than 3 hours have already slipped away. He tells the fat little bamboo shoot to grow strong at home while he heads out to chop wood. After all, sleeping on the cold, hard dirt every night is getting old. The player chat is as lively as ever. Most people have already burned through their daily limit of 3 messages, but fresh posts keep popping up. Everyone is talking about building houses. The resource gatherers are bragging about chopping down trees and stockpiling wild food, but the breeders and hunters are complaining. They say timber is impossible to gather and starter tools cannot be resold. Worse, the cheapest iron axe on the market costs 100 survival points. Nobody can afford that, one hunter describes notching trees with a simple knife, then jamming stones inside to crack them open. Talk about doing things the hard way. He reads this while digging around a withered tree. If you cannot buy an axe, you adapt, and his secret weapon is the reclamation hoe. Every farming player gets one, built specifically for turning soil. And the ground around these dead trees is soft dirt. It works perfectly. The roots are dried and brittle. One solid strike from his hoe snaps anything thinner than a wrist in a single blow, as long as it stays underground. Feeling curious, he places an uncovered root on the open ground and strikes. Suddenly, the wood behaves completely differently. It is much tougher to break, rapidly destroying his tool. Durability. This means the hoe gets a hidden mining bonus underground. Not bad at all. It is not too hard. After 20 minutes, the root system of one withered tree is completely hollowed out. He pushes the tree with both hands until it finally tips and begins to fall. Down it goes. The trunk and branches slam into the dirt, shattering into pieces. Level 1 wood units float inside little air bubbles above the scattered wreckage. He gets 8 units from this single tree, added to the 20 from his crate. Combined with 10 from the daily mission, he is still 12 short of the 50 he needs. Besides the basic wood, he gathers 43 pieces of firewood that are only good for burning. No burn time is listed yet. He collects the fuel and moves to the next dead tree. Over the next hour, he brings down 2 more, pulling 8 and 7 units from them. That finally gives him enough level 1 wood. He packs up the remaining fuel and heads back. Stashing the firewood in his inventory slots, he carries the hoe over his shoulder toward the base. Back home, he checks the bamboo shoot first and promises to return once the house is built. He gives the shoot a gentle pat, muttering softly to the tiny green sprout. It is that strange way people talk to themselves when there is absolutely nobody else around. Building near the fire pit seems obvious, but he already turned that ground into farmland. He will not ruin his fresh crops now. Instead, he looks for a new spot. He picks a flat area just 1 meter away from the fat bamboo shoot and starts building. He drags a virtual blueprint frame onto the dirt, adjusting its orientation. He confirms the placement, and the system instantly spawns a basic wooden shelter. It has a small footprint, standing 2 meters tall to block out level 1 wind and rain. The thin wooden shack features a flat roof and a simple front door that swings open and shut. On the other side is a single wooden window that lifts and lowers for fresh air. Stepping inside, he moves with extreme care, worried his head might hit the low ceiling. Heads up, even standing on his tiptoes is going to hurt in this tiny space. Still, it is a real house, and it already feels much safer than sleeping in the open. Flipping through his menu pages, he spots a new task on the survival panel. It asks him to collect 100 units of level 1 wood for a basic crafting table. The potential rewards are highly motivating since he will eventually need furniture. A bed and a cabinet would be perfect, and a crafting table is the only way to build them. Unfortunately, his cheap reclamation hoe is already down to 32% durability as he heads out. We all know the pain of fragile starting gear, and his tools are no exception. After chopping down 2 more trees, the tool snaps. He spends 10 survival points on a replacement. Luckily, his daily missions award enough points to keep him stocked with fresh gear. Gathering 100 units of wood would have been completely impossible otherwise. The land-clearing stamina bonus keeps him going, but the quick durability drain is still brutal. He keeps digging under the dead trunks, dig, hour after hour. After clearing over a dozen trees and buying yet another hoe for 10 points, he succeeds. He finally holds the 100 units of timber required for his crafting table. By now, he has traveled over 1,784 meters away. The system map highlights the distance between his position and his tiny log cabin. He stares at the vast, empty wasteland on the screen. It is incredibly desolate. He feels lucky the quest only required 100 units, or he would be running forever. While the map remains mostly blank, a few thin lines of revealed terrain offer some hope. Narrow winding routes now trace the endless gray wasteland. They mark a clear dotted path leading all the way back to his tiny home. He had to circle and dig around every single tree. It is already past 5 in the afternoon and getting dark, so he stops digging and heads home with his hoe. With 29% durability on his shoulder, he takes a quick walk back. He checks the fat bamboo shoot and 13 ordinary plants to see if anything happened. Finding nothing special, he turns in the quest and receives a basic crafting bench. It is a 1 cubic meter metal box that does not physically open. Instead, a virtual operation screen on top lets him craft items one by one. A basic wooden plank bed costs 20 units of wood, which feels pretty expensive. He tries not to think about the high cost for a small house like this. Looking at the furniture list, he spots the basic wooden plank option right at the top. It takes 20 wood and 1 hour to make, so he sets it crafting. Since it will finish after dark, his night is about to get freezing and pitch black. But a dead fire pit nearby offers him a tiny ray of hope. The construction interface confirms that the cold pit can easily be relit. He pulls out several pieces of firewood and lays them gently over the cold charcoal. The flames slowly catch as the wood starts merging into the roaring fire. Soon his fire pit looks exactly like it did last night. Some parts of this crazy world feel incredibly realistic, while other parts are totally bizarre. He watches the burn time appear on his screen. 1 piece of wood buys 1 minute. That means an hour takes 60 pieces, and a 14-hour night needs 840. He only harvested 592 pieces all day. Luckily, level 1 wood works too. Even though the market price for wood has crashed down to only about 1.6 survival points per unit, he still wants a fire burning all night. This place is too dangerous to risk the dark. Surprisingly, 1 level 1 wood adds a full hour of burn time. Not bad at all. He feeds in 5 units. This will keep the fire burning easily past 8 tomorrow morning. Plenty of time. He walks over to his fat bamboo shoot in great spirits and sits down with his last steamed bun. He eats, drinks, and chats quietly with the little shoot. He jokingly complains that after a whole day, its roots have only grown a tiny bit. Starting with 2 buns, he already ate 1 during the afternoon work shift. Drinking 2 bottles of water left him with only a single bun for dinner. Talking to the little bamboo shoot, he admits their small family is pretty poor right now. But tomorrow, once the bok choy is harvested, they will split it half and half. The bun is incredibly dry without any sides, but his mind is already dreaming of veggies. He plans to eat the leaves and heart of the bok choy himself. The chopped stalks and roots will go straight into the soil to feed his little bamboo. As he eats, he scrolls through the chat and watches wood prices continue to plummet. Everyone is selling and nobody is buying. One player even complains that, after dropping his listing price from 3 points to 1, absolutely nothing sold. At exactly 6, the sky plunges into total pitch black in an instant, making him thankful for the fire. Suddenly it clicks: any player earning survival points, regardless of their class, will eventually scrape up enough wood to build a proper shelter, once they have it. They stop buying. That is why the market is flooded with listings and zero demand. His own wooden cabin feels a bit fancy, but he simply refused to risk. Dangerous dark, especially with his precious little bamboo shoot sitting, unprotected outside. He pats the fat bamboo shoot, praying his small home stays safe tonight. Both his front door and the plant sit just inside the flickering firelight. But those roots are spreading fast. Already, they stretch out several meters. He just hopes that nothing unknown comes along to eat them underground. Finishing his meal, he sits cross-legged and presses a palm to the shoot. Closing his eyes to quiet his mind, the hidden network below takes shape. A massive cluster has grown right under the house, but it is not rising. It does not climb. Instead, the roots relentlessly tunnel outward. The thickest vein already reaches past 12 meters, far further than he imagined. The main stalk remains stubby, but tiny new shoots are already popping up. They form a small protective perimeter, just a few paces from his walls. Deeper down, nodes are driving roots straight into the earth, searching for water. He has no clue if a water source will ever spawn here. Relying on random supply crates for drinking water is simply not enough. A system alert rings. The crafting process is finally done. His spiritual energy is heavily drained, but the wooden plank bed is finished. He slowly pushes himself up and returns inside. The open door lets in light. A glowing bubble floats above his crafting table, holding his brand new bed. Touching the sphere to retrieve it, the item stats immediately pop open. It is a basic wooden frame, 1.8 meters long and half a meter high. It gives +1 sleep comfort and a 3% recovery boost. That length is tight for a tall guy, but at least he has a bed. He sets it down inside, leaving barely any walking room near his crafting table. Testing it out, he lies down and listens to the rough boards creak. He must curl his legs to fit, but deep exhaustion is taking over. He will sleep. His body is completely drained, and it is finally time. He shuts the door, leaving the window cracked to let the firelight drift in. Crawling back onto the creaking wood, he instantly drifts into a deep sleep. The silent night air is still, with only the outside firelight flickering. Suddenly, just past 10, a sharp system ping jolts him wide awake. The system announces that Mission 3, the planting event, is complete. You are not going to believe the wild twist waiting in his system log. His chubby little bamboo shoot just successfully hunted and devoured a wild wolf. Level 1 mutated plant defended itself, eliminating a Level 1 wild wolf. It fed successfully. Now its growth path has officially shifted. The status that previously read unknown now displays a new title, Guardian. He rushes outside. In total shock, he crouches to inspect the chubby shoot. He had expected a harmless, decorative plant, but this thing has actual teeth. Clearly, he vastly underestimated what a mutated organism in this world can do. Whispering to the shoot, he marvels at how such a small thing slaughtered a beast. Feeling fully rested, he concentrates to inspect the root network once again. He traces the thickening roots as they wind to the back of the house. There, several heavy tendrils are actively pulsing, carrying fresh nutrients back to the core. Following the underground trail further out, he finally spots the scene of the struggle. About 20 meters away near a small patch of bamboo, the grisly scene unfolds. Tall stalks grow in a staggered ring, forming inner and outer layers around. Central clearing, the ground there is completely laced with crisscrossing roots. With several tiny bamboo shoots growing on top in a pattern he cannot quite read. Yet right beneath that thick spread of roots lies a deep pit. At the bottom, more than a dozen razor-sharp bamboo shoots stick up, and a Level 1 wild wolf corpse is still trapped down there, completely pierced through with dozens of deep holes, while the bamboo roots creep deep inside those punctures to consume almost all of its flesh and organs. It seems this plant actually knows how to set and bait traps. That is incredibly impressive, and he had no idea such a thing was even possible. He withdraws his spiritual power and pokes the thick shoot a few times. He has grown a hunter and one that builds traps, but since he raised it himself, it likely has no intention of turning on him. Plus, Little Dot's roots have actively avoided other plants entirely. He submits the quest, which once seemed impossible to finish, and gets a quiet success notification, earning 3 survival points, 3 planting experience, and another daily Reward pack, it is the same little bag as before. He opens it to find a basic water vein core and 5 more survival points. The points instantly credit to his account, and the special item drops into his inventory. A water vein, his heart rate spikes. With excitement, the description in front of him confirms it can form a basic water resource once placed. A basic water resource means clean, drinkable water at the very least. And whether he can drink it or not, every crop he planted desperately needs a splash, so this should keep them all alive. His mind is exhausted, but he is too excited to wait, so he grabs the reclamation hoe and digs right beside the fat bamboo shoot. Scooping and piling dirt by hand, he clears a pit on one side and piles the earth on the other until it is roughly half a meter deep and half a meter wide. Only then does he stop, the heavy mental exhaustion rolling right back over him worse than ever. He tells the chute that water is coming right next to it, so it will be easy to drink. He places the basic water vein core into the pit and the soil turns damp at once. Then, gurgling streams of fresh water begin welling up. He sits down right on the opposite side of the chute, watching the pit slowly fill as he stares at the unresponsive plant. How does he teach it to drink? With his spiritual energy completely depleted, he has to rest for over half an hour before trying again. This time he keeps his focus close, right under the roots, targeting the roots right beneath the chute, locking onto the one closest to the water pool. He wants to force that root to grow, but he can only urge the plant mentally since he cannot force change, right as he is about to give up and dig a trench to guide the water instead. The stiff root finally starts growing. It extends slightly and his mental lock follows it. It creeps forward a bit more and he tracks it closely until the root breaks through the soil and taps into the water before pulling his focus back, totally spent. Ordinary guy with a combat power of 11, how is he even pulling this off? He only recently learned how to harness spiritual energy at all, so this continuous locking is genuinely too much for him. He tells the big fat bamboo shoot to drink its fill, since he needs sleep immediately. He gently pats it, then staggers over to lean against the wall. He stumbles all the way inside, collapsing onto the bed, and falls asleep instantly. He's too exhausted to even close the door behind him. This time, he sleeps deeply. By the time he wakes up, the sun is high, already past 8 o'clock. The system registers day 2, past 8 a.m. sunny, 25 degrees, slightly warmer than yesterday. Once again, 3 daily missions appear. He has wasteland to reclaim. The target is up to 15 square meters, though planting dropped to 5. The third task is maintaining fields 10 times, rewarding him with points. He gets planting experience in a gift pack, though with lower requirements. The rewards are slightly lower than yesterday. He slides off the creaky wooden bed, closes his system panel, and steps outside for a stretch. He freezes mid-stretch. Right next to his cabin, everything has changed. Several bamboo stalks as thick as chopsticks have erupted, shooting up 4 meters. They're covered in fresh, tender leaves, casting a cool shade over his yard. Normally this would just be a nice surprise, except for one very weird detail. The wolf hide is hanging high on the bamboo branches, the exact same hide that was stuck in the trap pit 20 meters away last night, now impaled. He asks the little bamboo shoot how it managed this, leaving the hide intact. He walks over to pat the thick shoot, which hasn't changed all that much. The plant clearly possesses a stable consciousness now, almost like a living pet. It just doesn't know how to speak yet, or maybe he lacks the ability to hear its voice, though the plant seems to understand absolutely everything. As he struggles to find a way to communicate, the nearby branches suddenly twitch. They shake a few times, and the entire wolf hide drops right off them. It lands perfectly, draping right over his back before the branches fall silent again. He realizes the little plant thinks he is cold, so he sits and touches the hide. His heart melts. He is being taken care of by a tiny green sprout. It was born less than a day ago, yet it dragged this heavy pelt here. He can't imagine how hard it was for a plant to haul it back. This little bamboo is way too sweet. He promises to see if it can be crafted. If it works, he will turn this gift into some warm clothes to wear. Taking the damaged pelt, he heads over to check the crafting bench options. Every viable recipe requires extra materials to splice in, like other animal skins. Those would patch up the damage, but he'd lose the original wolf look. The other way is tearing it to shreds to line a fabric base. But this level 1 wolf fur is way too coarse to go on the inside. There's no shortcut here. He decides his only choice is buying some clean fabric. It's not that expensive anyway. He didn't plan on rushing to make clothes. But this pelt was a gift from Little Bamboo. He wants to wear it. The search shows level 1 coarse cloth, costs 11 survival points apiece. Each pair of pants requires 2 pieces, and since he earned 80 points last night, he buys 2 for 22 points, plus level 1 coarse thread for 6. Bench begins crafting the level 1 wolfhide pants, consuming his gathered materials. It takes the damaged hide, 2 cloths and thread, requiring 30 minutes total. All he has to do now is wait. He heads back outside, spending 3 points on some consignment bread, then sits down to relax by the tree. Scooping clean, clear puddle water to drink, he sits right beside the fat bamboo shoot. He is in such a great mood, he completely forgot the bok choy is harvest ready. Chewing on some dry, choking bread, he stops mid-bite before he can even start complaining. Suddenly, he spots the lush green and white leaves nearby. Walking over, he pulls up the bok choy, barely 20 centimeters tall with only a dozen leaves. The system awards him 1 experience point for harvesting a basic plant. It is the standard reward. Holding the harvest, he walks back to the fat bamboo shoot. He has not forgotten his promise that they would share their first meal together. Plucking the leaves, he keeps the core for himself and splits the rest right down the middle. He digs a small hole, burying the roots and stems deep in the soil for his companion. Dirty hands get washed right where clean water seeps from the ground. Sitting down again, he eats his dry bread and fresh leaves, washing it down with puddle water. Full at last, he opens his panel to plan. His glowing player screen tags him as a survivor in the wasteland. He is Yaya Chan, Zone 77, with serene talent and a combat power of 11. As a level 0 basic planter, he only has 74 experience points. His sole skill listed is basic plant observation. There's also a basic water vein and a dark, cold fire pit. His basic field spans 12.6 meters, containing 1 registered alien plant. That would be the growing level 1 mutated bamboo, alongside 49 survival points. His inventory holds 79 units of wood, with his planting hoe durability at 98%. While his sickle is fresh, his reclamation hoe is practically broken at 12%. If it were only daytime, he could easily keep digging forever. But the nights here are deadly. Terrible beasts crawl out as soon as darkness falls. Predators destroy any crops that are left out in the dark, far beyond the safety of the campfire. This is exactly what the global chat is crying about early this morning. The active player count has already dropped to 999,712. One desperate player listened to wolves, eating the pigs he kept safe. Another lost 20 cabbages to ravaging wild boars in just a single night. Other hunters simply tell everyone to lock up and stay inside. Through all the panic, however, some genuinely useful survival advice begins to emerge. Smart players keep their fire pits burning bright all night to scare the monsters away. One clever farmer kept over 30 plants perfectly intact using this exact method. Another smart player brought his breeding chicks inside the house overnight. Others point out that sturdy defensive fences can be built to warn against attacks. A lot of posts are just absolute nonsense, so he filters them out without a second thought. Still, some pieces of advice are too good to ignore. Staring at the scattered bamboo patches nearby, a brilliant idea begins to form. Looking at his little bamboo companion, he wonders if they should team up to expand the farm. If the bamboo grows around the perimeter, his crops will be safe from nighttime predators. The harsh truth is that the wild still feels too dangerous. Even with sturdy fences, a sudden wolf attack would leave him completely defenseless. Could a simple rookie really fight off a pack of wild wolves with just a basic rusty hoe? When danger strikes, self-preservation comes first, and he is no exception to that rule. One bleeding wound out here would make survival completely impossible, so he must think. Since the shoot can't answer, he decides on a simple deal. If he tries it and it doesn't like his plan, it can always stop him with a bamboo twig. After talking at the unresponsive, chubby shoot a bit longer, he grabs his trusty hoe and stands up. Walking over to the scattered bamboo patch, he searches for a nice open spot to begin. With a few swings, his hoe digs into the soil as he quickly clears out a single square meter. Finding plenty of extra space, he decides to keep pushing forward. The plot quickly grows to 3 square meters before he moves to find another empty spot. Wondering if the little plant actually wants him to eat bamboo shoots, he keeps digging. Because after just a few swings with his new hoe, he unearths a tiny Bamboo shoot that hasn't even broken the surface yet. He is completely stunned. Looking closer, he notices the only thing attached to the back of the shoot is a very tiny root. The little sprout grew straight out of the very tip of that root, proving the little bamboo did this on purpose. It is a pretty strange feeling. It is pretty amazing since he only just fed it cabbage leaves, and now this tiny fellow is feeding him back. Maybe the sprout is worried he will go hungry. Glancing between the fat bamboo shoot and the fresh sprout, he makes his decision. There is no way he can let this heartwarming gesture go to waste. Peeling the outer layer, he eats the fresh shoot in a few sweet, crisp bites. It is sweet and fragrant, bursting with juice and tasting absolutely incredible. Just then, the system marks his first daily mission complete. He has cleared 15 and a half of the 15 required meters, earning 15 survival points and 15 planting experience points, along with a daily mission reward gift pack. Across the scattered bamboo area, he has carved out several small plots, the biggest being over 4 square meters, while the smallest is barely half a meter. Opening the gift pack, he realizes his crazy luck is still holding strong. 10 random seeds drop straight into his slots. On the market, these sell for at least 8 survival points each. That means this little pack just handed him the equivalent of 80 points, which is a pretty big deal in this survival game. With seeds in hand, he works through the fresh fields, planting them one by one. Out of the first 8 are veggies, 1 is wheat, and the last is honeysuckle. The moment they are all buried, his second daily mission is completed. The points and experience hit his balance instantly, leaving another gift pack to open. This time the reward yields an extra 10 survival points outright. His experience has reached 104 now, with 69 survival points in his pocket, which is pretty comfortable. His third mission is simple field maintenance, and since the fresh plots don't need it, this is an easy win. He heads to yesterday's fields to break up the tough soil crusts that hardened overnight, pulling out any pesky weeds that popped up. Every cleared square meter ticks his progress up. Once he cleans 10 square meters, the mission is wrapped up. The reward pack this time unlocks 2 more inventory slots. As a guy with very simple needs, getting those extra slots makes him incredibly happy. With all 3 daily missions cleared, his experience climbs to 114. He has 79 survival points, 7 inventory slots, 3 high durability farming tools, and 79 units of level 1 wood. It is not even a quarter to 11 in the morning, and yet he remembers his pants finished crafting a while ago, so he sits to drink some water, cupping a few sips from a puddle. Once satisfied, he reaches over, patting the fat bamboo shoot in greeting, then heads inside the house. To fetch them, he picks up the completed pants and pulls them on as the system alerts him these are level 1 wolfhide coarse cloth pants, with warmth plus 11, and leg defense plus 15. Stamina recovery is up 2% with full durability. Vanish the moment he takes them off, and the new ones adjust to his body. The length and fit settling comfortably in. The coarse cloth is rough and far from delicate, but at least it has a real solid presence, and when he tests the wooden bed, they stop the bare planks from digging directly into his skin. With the pants sorted, he turns to shoes and a top. He pulls up the materials for shoes, then jumps to the trading interface to compare raw material costs against the finished product, and he is genuinely surprised. Honestly, who expects crappy basic gear to be cheaper than crafting it? So after a few quick rounds of mental math, he decides on a good price to stat ratio and buys the cheapest, lowest stat basic coarse cloth shoes he can find. They cost 37 points, whereas crafting them would have cost 56. The system lists them as basic shoes, warmth plus 4, foot defense plus 3, durability full. Cheap as they are, wearing them feels no different from expensive gear. Because with equipment, the difference lies in stats, not physical sensation. These shoes feature a coarse cloth upper and a sole made of rope. The whole thing is bound with coarse linen thread. He laces them on, glances at his remaining 42 points, and goes hunting for a top. Finding a basic top at 31 points, it gives warmth plus 12, torso defense plus 2 with full durability. He buys it, dropping to 11 survival points. His old starter shirt, which only existed as screen pixels, vanishes. The moment he peels it off, the new top is loose cut with ropes at the cuffs to cinch things tight, featuring a stylish cross-collar front. Anything like this before, but it is just a matter of finding where all the knots go. With his new outfit completely equipped, the useless cosmetic set of cosmetic gear he carried over from his former world has vanished. He stands there a while, quietly looking down at the clothes on his body, his mood shifting back and forth. A wave of bittersweet nostalgia hits him like a final goodbye, but underneath that lies the genuine excitement of building a decent life here. He steps outside to the fat bamboo shoot to show off his new look to the little fellow he has been watching. He tells it the pants are made from the wolf hide it gave him, mixed with coarse cloth, warm and well defended. The shoes, he explains, make walking much easier. Yesterday almost wore his feet raw, where every cautious step felt like treading on thin, hard cardboard. He does not know if the bamboo understands his words, but is certain it is conscious, perceiving the world through its own unique way. He rambles to it for a long while until his mixed emotions finally calm down. Taking 2 sips of water, he sets off with better shoes. He finds it much easier and soon reaches a fresh, withered tree. Its position differs from yesterday's, since these trees seem to refresh at random locations each day. Whether he cannot say if the reset hits at midnight or 8. Frankly, he doesn't care. It makes no difference to him, because he has zero intention of adventuring in the dark. He digs at the ground with a reclamation hoe until he has undermined the roots, then shoves the tree over so the fallen wreckage turns into level 1. Wood and firewood. Yesterday's training paid off. He is now highly proficient, and he is stingier now with the hoe's durability. Digging up one of these trees, which barely vary in size, costs him hardly more than 10 points of durability, and each tree drops 6 to 9 units of level 1 wood. The price of level 1 wood has slid to 8/10 of a survival point and basically stabilized, with steady buying and selling on the market, counting on a minimum of 6 units a tree. That means 4 and 4/5 survival points. Decent money. And a fresh hoe costs 10 points for 100 durability, so 10 durability is worth 1 point. As long as a person is willing to work, they can spend stamina and earn money. Talk about a great grind where hard work actually pays off. He digs from 10 in the morning straight through past 2 in the afternoon. By now, he is so used to picking up nothing but wood and firewood that the little finger-sized sapling he suddenly turns up stops him cold. Check this out. He lifts it out of his inventory slot and looks it over. The system calls it a level 1 willow sapling, a productive, water-loving plant. Holding it, he brushes it with his spiritual power, and the water-loving tag confirms itself. He tells the sapling he will plant it first, since he is about to head home and rest anyway. He does not put it away, just carrying the little thing home in his hand, back at the homestead. He is in no hurry to plant it, going first to the big fat bamboo shoot, which still has not changed. He tells it about the sapling he is about to set down. He explains that it dropped as an extra from those withered tree materials while he was digging, and that he wants to plant it on that empty patch nearby. He adds that if the bamboo thinks it will be in the way, it can just block him with a branch, since he knows its branches can move. After chatting with it a while and seeing no new bamboo has come up in that spot, he walks past a few thin stalks into the slightly larger plot, which is really only 3 and some square meters. Digging a hole in the soft soil, he buries the willow. The system credits 10 planting experience for planting the willow. Suddenly, a water shortage tag flashes. He grabs his reclamation hoe, goes to the puddle, and quickly cuts a shallow little trench. The moment the water flows down it and reaches the field, the little willow erupts into accelerated growth. In a dozen seconds, it goes from a tiny speck to sprouting, leafing, and branching, rising to about half a meter. And the system updates it to a long-term productive plant in its growth stage, harvestable in 24 hours for willow leaves and willow branches. Those harvestable parts are indeed the leaves and branches, but it has to grow more first. What willow leaves and branches are even good for, he has no idea, so he checks the trading interface for what the gathering players have posted. A level 1 willow leaf is listed as a medicinal material that needs processing before use, priced at 1 survival point, with a level 1 willow branch the exact same. 7. A leaf is just a single leaf, a branch is just a bare section, and the prices look steep, so he wonders out of curiosity if they actually sell. He watches the listings for a dozen seconds, and the count doesn't drop, it climbs. The search reports over 1 million willow leaf listings, with a total volume near 200 million. Every player only gets 3 sales slots, and there is no way everyone actually has willow leaves to sell, especially against a number that massive. So the only explanation is that the entire game world shares a single trading interface. He realizes this is actually a good thing because nothing will get scarce and overpriced just because of the terrain or environment of one region, and basic materials will never spike to absurd prices due to local rarity. He closes the interface since none of this is his concern. For now, he kneels down, using his spiritual power to watch the little willow drink. Its root system already reaches the moist soil, pulling water in slowly and steadily, everything exactly as it should be. He goes back to the fat bamboo shoot, telling it to rest a bit while he eats a bun, spending 10 survival points on 2 leek and pork buns to slowly chew through for a late lunch. That one afternoon of digging brought him 13 trees, 92 units of level 1 wood, and 475 firewood units, and a broken reclamation hoe replaced for 10 points. Before buying the new hoe, he listed 52 units of level 1 wood and sold them for 40 survival points, letting him hold steady without going hungry, leaving him with 119 units of wood and 31 survival points after buying the buns. While eating, he scrolls the chat channel, and an avatar slides past that looks oddly familiar. Enough to freeze his scrolling. The message itself is pretty ordinary: a breeder needling the hunters, saying they just wait around for prey to spawn and might get killed themselves if they are weak. Meanwhile, the breeders raise their stock at home, hoping to breed a mutant that can even guard the house. Class choices and general snobbery have been a massive constant on the channel since yesterday, but the avatar itself is what has him staring. It looks exactly like his maternal cousin, whom he hasn't seen in years, the same face and the same old burned scar at the corner of his mouth. That scar was from childhood, back when he was right there when it happened. When the adults asked how his cousin got burned, they blamed him. He denied it. But not a single adult listened, everyone instead cursing him as a heartless, wicked child. He was nearly beaten to death on the spot for years afterward, whenever those adults were in a foul mood and wanted to dig up old grudges. The first thing they said was how he, a born bad child, tried to scald his cousin to death at 3 years old. It wasn't until his teens that he understood they always knew a 3-year-old couldn't lift a soup bowl that large. The truth simply never mattered to them because they only needed a target for their anger. The world changed, yet he can still run into them, completely ruining his mood. He is here, and people from his old world are here too, which is normal since some of those searching for relatives yesterday actually found their family. Still, knowing a thing and seeing it right in front of him are two completely different things, and once he confirms he almost certainly has the right man, his food stops tasting quite as he tells the little bamboo shoot that he is full and heading back to chop more trees. He promises to tell it more about his childhood when he returns to rest tonight. Life was rough back then. He finishes his bun, takes a few gulps of water, says goodbye, and sets out, reminding himself to work hard because only when he is strong enough will the bullying stop. He even lets himself look forward to some serious revenge, digging trees, gathering materials, and digging some more. From past 2 until past 5, 3 hours quickly slip by before he puts away the hoe and runs back home. Not many withered trees remain near his house now. He dug the last one over 3,000 meters away in a straight line, far enough that without the map he would not have realized how far he ran. This afternoon brought 11 trees, 1 new hoe bought for 10 points along the way, and nothing special in the haul besides level 1 wood and firewood. His slots hold 204 wood units, 883 firewood, his planting hoe at 97%, and the sickle fully intact, with the reclamation hoe at 97. It is 22 minutes before dark when he gets back. He tells the little bamboo he is home and that the vegetables and herbs are thirsty, so he must water them. He really needs to craft a wooden bucket since he keeps forgetting to bring one. He sways in front of the fat chute to say hello, then ducks inside to start crafting a basic wooden bucket, which requires 2 units of wood and 5 minutes. While it crafts, he rubs his faintly uncomfortable stomach, digs a hole in an empty spot behind the house, and wraps some firewood sticks around it. Just like that, he has a very simple toilet ready for use. The bucket is finished by the time he returns, so he fetches water from the puddle and gives each thirsty plant its drink. Once watered, the vegetables and herbs resume normal growth, just as the world flips into night mode. It is pitch black with no light at all, and he suddenly remembers what he forgot. So he feels his way to the dead fire pit and tosses in firewood until the Flames climb back up, lighting the small circle around him. He decides that he does not need to burn level 1 wood tonight, since firewood alone is enough. He feeds in 840 units to keep it burning until dawn, leaving 43 units in his slots. He could afford a fence now, but there is not much point for their home, so he leaves it to save the wood for future needs. Once the fire is tended, he loosens the clumped soil on the patches that require attention. He washes his hands at the puddle and sits to chat one-sidedly with the big fat bamboo shoot while searching through the trading interface for dinner. Beef noodles catch his eye at 8 survival points. Portion and the listed beef is an absurdly huge serving. He buys it without a second thought, and the bowl appears in his slot. When retrieved, it is a wooden bowl 25 centimeters across and 10 deep, packed with noodles and topped with thinly sliced beef piled high in a peak, all coated in sauce. There is easily half a kilogram of meat here. He asks the little bamboo for 2 small branches to use as chopsticks, telling it he will eat the noodles himself, since it cannot taste anything yet, but promises to buy it some beef. For dinner, he sets the bowl down, pokes the fat shoot for its branches, and searches up half a kilogram of beef for 2 survival points, buying 2 pieces. He digs a hole on the far side of the chute, buries the raw beef, and he covers it over, washes his hands at a puddle, and walks back to pick up the bowl. Leaning in, he sips the soup first, a bit bland on its own. But the moment he bites into a slice of salty beef, the flavor hits just right. Just then 2 bamboo branches bend down, leaves brushing gently across his hair. Even though the plant cannot speak, the way it keeps pressing them down until they hang right in front of his eyes makes its message clear. It is telling him he asked for these branches himself, so look at them and break them off. He tells the plant he simply missed them and begs it not to be mad. He was just greedy and forgot everything the second he smelled that aroma. He promises to take these 2 and thank it, calling it Little Dot. Right then, he senses the little bamboo might be looking down on him, so he reaches up and snaps the tips off both branches, which happen to make a perfect pair of chopsticks of equal thickness and length. Holding the bowl in one hand and his new chopsticks in the other, he thanks it while eating. After a few bites, he even starts chewing the chopsticks, just like that earlier little shoot. These can be eaten straight. He marvels at how good the noodles are and how skilled the maker must be. He finishes the bowl down to the very last drop of soup before crunching the chopsticks down piece by piece. They are still crisp, sweet, and juicy, a perfect post-meal fruit. The wooden bowl, being player-made, will not vanish, but its durability has dropped to 63% after holding the single portion of noodles. Full now, he wants to sleep, but decides to rinse off. First, checking if his clothes need washing, he picks up the bucket, strips off his shirt, which has lost 2 points of durability, and rinses it directly in the bucket with fresh water. The smell of dirt and sweat washes right out. He carries it to the door and spreads it on the bamboo branches nearby, telling the bamboo that its branches will serve as a drying rack. Next, he needs to wash his shoes and set them on the window sill. Taking off his pants and shoes, he washes the pants in the bucket, places his shoes in the ditch, and pours water through them. Then, standing by the puddle's outlet, he rinses his hair before dousing his shoulders and neck with several bucketfuls to scrub the grime away. Shower finished, he shakes out his hair and heads back inside to sleep. Before lying down, he tells the little bamboo he is sleeping first, and that if anything happens, it should knock on the door or window with a twig to wake him immediately. If something really turns up near their home, he will go out to look. Even if he cannot handle it alone, he can at least be on guard. A swish of bamboo twigs answers him. Reassured, he goes back inside in high spirits, shuts the door, and leaves the window wide open. The plank bed is still uncomfortable, but a full day of digging has worn him out so completely that he drops straight to sleep. The instant he lies down, sleeping until he wakes on his own. When someone is truly tired, they just fall straight under. He sits up on the edge of the bed and opens his mission panel to check the time. It reads day 3, a little past 3 in the morning. Light rain, wind force 3, 21 degrees. Today's 3 dailies have stepped up. The reclamation target raised to 20 square meters, the planting to 50, and field maintenance to 10. Each pays out survival points and planting experience. He gets his usual gift pack. Outside, the wind picks up and the rain starts falling, making the difficulty feel even higher. He opens his door and steps outside to investigate. The rain is just a faint drizzle, with the odd tiny droplet landing on his palm, barely a proper mist. Gusting now and then to sway the leaves, he grabs his clothes off the bamboo rack by the door. The inside is dry, but the outside feels slightly damp, meaning they finished drying hours ago and only recently started absorbing the morning dew. He tells the little bamboo it cannot be asleep, promising some veggies soon. But first it is harvest time, time to pick. In the quiet morning, he walks over to his first crop plot and begins harvesting, earning 1 point of planting experience and a celery stalk for his first harvest. This celery is almost as thick as his arm, incredibly heavy, too. Stalks grow there and he pulls both. Next are 2 carrots with their tops still attached. So he harvests them together. After that come 4 massive heads of Chinese cabbage, each weighing around 6 or 7 pounds. Finally, he reaches the chili peppers, which he does not pick one by one. Honestly, why bother when the system sweeps them right in? 9 vegetables gathered, earning him 9 experience points. He carries 1 celery stalk, 1 carrot, and 2 cabbages over to the fat bamboo shoot, digs a hole, and buries them. Sitting down, he pats the shoot in greeting and observes. His mental perspective follows. Underground, watching the fat shoot's rootlets swarm over the buried vegetables, piercing them to draw out all the moisture and nutrients, breaking them down rapidly. Nothing visible changes about the bamboo after its meal, but the slow, happy swaying of its twigs and leaves makes its content mood. Plain enough, he wonders if it eats spicy chilies, but decides to give it a try anyway. He pulls up a massive half-meter plant with 6 large green chilies, each over 10 centimeters long. This chili counts as a vegetable, but it brings some heat. Once he buries a pepper, he watches it get eaten. As well, the twigs swing in wide, happy arcs, showing him it loves the spice. He tells the plant that since it enjoys them, he will feed it more and keep just 2. Along with all the chili stems, carrot tops, and discarded celery roots and leaves, he takes the vegetables, keeping 2 peppers while stripping the celery leaves and roots. He buries the rest, letting the bamboo roots quickly do their work. Once the roots finish the feast, he stands up in high spirits and heads back inside. Last night's instant beef noodles were delicious, but honestly, nobody wants to live on instant meals. He has wanted to cook for himself for a while, and since he is already awake, he decides to start. He sets his prepped vegetables on the edge of his wooden bed and searches the crafting system to see what a stove requires. Basic stove requires 10 level 1 iron ores and 10 level 1 stones, taking 15 minutes. The design is as simple as it gets, stones lining the bottom, 3-sided frame, and an iron pot on top. Iron ore costs 1.8 points per unit, while stone is 1.2, totaling 30 survival points. Having only 9, he checks wood prices, seeing them at 0.77 points, and quickly lists 100 units. Since his price is the lowest on the market, the listing sells almost instantly despite massive market supply, netting him 77 survival points. He quickly purchases the stove materials and sets them to craft. With 56 points left, he looks up he grabs a cheap kitchen knife for 2 points. While the stove finishes, he cues a basic cutting board craft, which takes only 1 unit of wood and 1 minute. After that comes a 40-centimeter wooden basin for 3 units of wood, then a tableware set of 1 bowl, 1 plate, a pair of chopsticks, and 1 rice scoop for a single unit of wood. The materials needed are honestly minimal. After that, he spends 3 more survival points on a slice of skin-on pork belly. Then he remembers the one ingredient he absolutely cannot skip: salt. He can manage without ginger or garlic, but salt is a necessity. He finds basic salt at 5 points for a full wooden bowl. It will last a while, making it quite a bargain. Now he has everything ready to cook. Stepping out to the doorway, he looks around and settles on a spot by the fire pit. That cleared ground is already leveled, completely clean and free of any restrictions. He pulls out the basic stove and sets it down on the ground. It stands about a meter tall on a single square meter, simple with no chimney. When he carries firewood over from the fire pit to light it, the ash inside scatters everywhere in the wind. He coughs through the soot, telling himself he cannot be picky. Honestly, this setup is already pretty great. He is good at keeping a positive mindset. A little smoke in his face will not ruin his excitement for a hot meal. Water goes on to boil first. He heads back inside to prep. The fatty meat is sliced off and set aside, while the chopped vegetables are neatly sorted into a wooden basin. He blanches the carrots and celery first, drains them, and dries the pot. Next, he renders the pork fat, tossing in the lean meat, celery, carrots, and a pinch of salt to stir-fry a massive plate of greens. But wait, there's more. He rinses the pot, boils fresh water, and throws in lean pork, salt, and fresh cabbage leaves to simmer a light soup. While that cooks, he shreds the remaining cabbage stems, slices the carrots, and chops the celery. Then he mixes them with salt in a clean basin for a cold side dish. Once the soup finishes, he spends 15 level 1 wood units to craft a wooden table and stool, setting them outside right next to the giant bamboo shoot. One hot stir-fry, one cold dish, a soup, and a warm steamed bun. Bought for just 2 survival points. Talk about a hearty breakfast. The ingredients and seasonings are pretty basic, but the flavor is pure and honest. The sweetness and crunch of the fresh greens are outstanding. He eats far more than usual, rubbing his stomach in pure satisfaction. Just past 5 a.m. now, with nearly 3 hours until dawn. Since venturing into the dark is suicide, he stays home to tidy the fields he cleared earlier. He packs down the soil by the front door to make walking easier. Next, he checks on the 3 medicinal herbs by the fire pit. They have about a day and a half left, so he builds a small soil ridge around them. They do not look dry, but he hauls a bucket over to water them anyway. By the time he finishes, it is only 6:30, meaning there is still an hour and a half left. Hating to sit idle, he talks to the little bamboo, asking it to keep him company while he practices his talent and skills since he still does not fully understand them. Moving the table and chair near the fire, he sits on the ground to play the skill training game with the little plant. The silent bamboo barely responds until he focuses his senses on its roots. Suddenly, the closest branch bends down, gently tapping his shoulder. Encouraged, he continues manually guiding the expanding root system. His spiritual force locks onto each segment, tracking them until exhaustion sets in. He rests briefly, then pushes forward again. Soon, dawn breaks across the horizon. A sparse patch of fresh bamboo has emerged on the far side of the wooden house. The stalks are barely as thick as chopsticks, with tiny shoots breaking the soil. Peeking through the dirt, the system labels them as level 1 bamboo shoots. This new harvest is completely different from the older crop. The old ones have absolutely no label. He is left highly curious. Are they all for him? He steps closer but decides not to gather. Instead, he returns to chat with his favorite little plant. He asks why it suddenly started producing harvestable bamboo alongside the shoots. Silence, no answer. The nearby twig remains perfectly still as he watches. Fine then, he will dig the shoots and buy meat to make fresh buns. He waits a moment, still nothing. The plant offers no response. By habit, he reaches down to pat the thickest shoot, preparing to dig. The second his hand touches it, the stubborn shoot violently cracks open. Outer layers rip apart as the massive stalk rockets straight skyward. With a continuous tearing sound, it widens to 30 centimeters thick. It climbs straight past 20 meters before sprouting branches near the top. Stunned, he looks up, telling the giant plant that its growth speed is absolutely terrifying. It reached that incredible height in just 30 seconds. He stares in awe. Swaying leaves overhead, he was clearly not prepared for this. He knew it grew fast, but this is ridiculous. He needs a new plan. Since it is so massive now, he can no longer call it little bamboo and needs a real name. He sits back, leaning against the stalk, and pulls up the plant entry. He pulls up the alien plant entry in his profile to study its stats. It is a level 1 mutated intelligent guardian, boasting 15 combat power. Its skills include cultivation and propagation, with intimacy at 100%. The active tags red blood, bonded rooting, and spiritual awakening. While the rest makes sense, those 2 tags leave him highly conflicted. Blood bonded rooting, he never bled on it, at least he understands the spiritual part. He constantly locked his energy onto its roots to watch them grow. Then it hits him, that tiny scrape from climbing the tree must have done it. The blood washed off during watering, that must be what counts. An accidental bond, but it is done. Now only the name remains. He taps the massive stalk with his hand, announcing he has finally decided on a name. He names it Bamboo Jade, explaining the choice to his giant companion. He shares a small fragment of poetic knowledge carried over from his past life. One half of the name represents a vast, vibrant green bamboo forest itself. The other represents jade, a priceless, sacred treasure. His own education was thin. His knowledge is limited, but he cannot think of anything finer. The twigs overhead sway in rhythmic rustle, clearly loving the treasure in the name. As long as it likes the name, he tells Bamboo Jade, that is all that truly matters. He lets the little creature know it just needs to ask for what it wants. After all, their home is not really struggling. They might not have much, but they can still afford to eat, maybe even enjoy some meat. He is in a great mood, leaning against the bamboo and chatting lazily, even though it cannot talk to him directly, just staying close lets him feel what it is thinking. Right then, the global chat channel erupts into a massive argument. Players are fighting over whether feeding pets is foolish while humans are starving. Someone calls it brain dead too. Buy meat for a beast that cannot hunt, gather, or plant, but another player answers that pets are not just about work, with everyone completely losing their minds. In their own isolated zones, having a companion gives them a real reason to survive. The thread keeps branching out as someone else chimes in. Why care so much about some beast instead of your own human family? Another player snaps back. Are your parents the exact same species as a dog? Meanwhile, a proud player boasts that their wolf caught 2 rabbits and is even helping heal their injured leg. Soon, the crowd shuts down the complainers, asking how anyone can possibly go hungry right now. When 3 daily tasks easily award 15 survival points, while food costs only 2, the starving players immediately fire back. They know the tasks are there, but the real struggle is actually completing them. When your quest requires building an expensive breeding pen, he quickly realizes the chat is split into the same old camps. One side claims anyone can survive by simply working hard and digging soil with a cheap hoe or even a stone, but the other side replies that if survival means endlessly scraping by and breaking your back, they would rather just give up. He simply leans against the bamboo, scooping up a handful of dirt to let it crumble through his fingers. On his local feed, people are still yelling to fight, while others prepare to die. Only a rare positive message cuts through the doom. He turns and tells Bamboo Jade about a player he just spotted, wearing level 1 beast hide gear and a beast bone hat, yet this person is crying about starving for 2 whole days. He laughs, telling his little companion how great of an actor this guy is. Even without seeing his stats, that gear could easily sell for 20 or 30 points, especially since beast hide armor is already considered high tier. He knows this because he crafted his own pants from damaged level 1 hide and coarse cloth, which barely made a basic level 1 item. The crafting board shows that most people can only craft basic cloth and rope. Still, even though the profile only updates every 3 days, it proves they own that gear. At some point, suddenly, a few glowing purple bamboo leaves drift down onto his arm as the wind sways. Bamboo Jade seems to be agreeing with his complaints about these fake beggars. He smiles and tells his little companion that keeping an eye on the chat can actually be pretty entertaining. Today, he plans to clear more land before gathering wood later in the afternoon. After taking a quick break, he grabs his heavy hoe and heads over to the side of the house, ready to harvest the small bamboo stalks that Bamboo Jade pointed out. The thin wood can be crafted into useful tools, while the fresh shoots make a great meal with some special benefits. He realizes these are plantable bamboo seedlings, a fact he only just discovered. He did not expect his first few swings to turn up these plantable shoots. A chubby shoot he digs up displays totally different details from the rest. A level 1 green bamboo seedling. This one is plantable, unlike the earlier level 1 bamboo shoots meant for the cooking pot. Bamboo Jade is incredibly versatile, he mutters, growing even the shoots that double as seedlings. He pockets it and keeps digging, but there are not many bamboo poles in this small patch. After an hour and 2 reclamation hoses, he clears the entire plot. His haul totals 43 level 1 thin bamboo poles, 31 level 1 bamboo shoots, and 12 level 1 green bamboo seedlings, along with 52 firewood. This batch is a mix of twigs, leaves, and withered roots. Last night's wood burned up during breakfast, so he decides to reclaim the land first, preparing 20 square meters of farmland. He pauses to wash his hands, drink water, and rest 10 minutes. Then he grabs the hoe again to work the soil near the cleared bamboo. Those few cleared square meters are already showing up as plantable farmland. Now that the tangled roots are no longer fighting him, preparing the new field goes much faster. Once he finishes over 10 square meters of farmland, a daily quest completes, showing he has successfully reclaimed 20 out of 20, rewarding 20 survival points, 20 experience, and a gift pack. The tougher the task, the better the loot. Now let's see what is inside. Seeds. Luckily, his fortune holds as 10 random seeds drop. That leaves him 10 Seeds and 12 plantable shoots, still 28 short of the 50 plantings required for the second mission, with only 44 survival points and random seeds costing 7.7 points each. He is not even close. He decides to clear mission 3 first, then find a way to scrape more points together. He holds off on planting the seedlings since the quantity is high. If he cannot reach 50 today, he might as well save them for tomorrow. He steps back into the sparse bamboo to loosen the soil for yesterday's crops, crushing the hardened dirt clumps back down around the plants. His daily maintenance progress slowly ticks up, block by block, until it completes at 10 out of 10, awarding 10 survival points, 10 experience, and another pack. This reward is far less generous, offering only 5 survival points and some bread, which only equals about 7 total points. Talk about disappointing. With nothing left to hope for from these packs, he heads back out into the thickening drizzle. The dead trees near his home refresh randomly once a day, and anything left unharvested vanishes during the reset. He walks over to the closest tree and begins digging, moving systematically with short breaks in between. After clearing 6 trees, he approaches the next one and freezes. A supply crate sits buried underneath with only a small corner showing. Just 2 days ago, he found one solely because a mission guided him right to it. Yesterday, he ran all day and saw absolutely nothing. Talk about a massive stroke of luck. He digs with rising excitement until a few shovels strikes free the chest. He sets the dusty gray box down and opens it. Instantly, the system awards him 50 survival points, depositing 50 level 1 wheat seeds into his inventory, and drops a level 1 mutated fox cub right into his hand. He cradles the tiny pink-skinned creature, which has barely a wisp of fur, and needs a second to process this. A mutated beast cub is certainly it is better than a normal one, but why did a newborn fall into his hands? He has never raised a pet in his life. The system identifies it as a level 1 mutated fox cub that is still in its infancy, a helpless newborn abandoned by its mother for being sickly and weak. Its odds of survival are incredibly low. Abandoned, he thinks, cradling the tiny creature whose eyes are closed. He loses all interest in harvesting wood, tucking the cub inside his coat to protect it from the cold rain as he sprints back home. Talk about a tough dilemma. He has 3 choices. He could list it on the market for a wealthy player who loves foxes to buy, nurse it back to health and raise it. He could also keep it and let it fight for its own life, leaving its survival entirely to fate. Or he could buy medicine, clear the disease, and cure its birth defects. But finding medicine to fix a congenital condition is not a matter of money. A quick search of the store database yields absolutely nothing of the sort. He holds the tiny fox up to bamboo jade and tells the plant to look at this tiny creature, a fragile newborn abandoned by its mother. He decides they will take care of it for now and try to keep it alive. The leaves of the plant rustle gently, sending him a warm wave of excitement. He carries the cub inside, promising to buy some beast milk for it to drink. He whispers that it needs to fight hard to stay alive. Then he places down his wooden bed, spending 10 survival points on a bowl of fresh, warm level 1 fox milk. He fills a small wooden bowl with the milk and gently guides the cub's head close, but the tiny thing is too weak to feed itself. 0 reaction. The poor thing is just too weak. With a helpless sigh, he decides to try a desperate move, even if he has no idea if it will succeed. Holding the bowl and the cub, he sits down and reaches out with his unique talent, connecting their spiritual energy. It's simple enough now. He has plenty of practice from training with bamboo jade, but the cub's own spiritual presence is so incredibly faint that he drains his own energy nearly to 0 with no result. He rests to recover and tries again. After a grueling hour, with the cub's belly barely moving with breath, he finally detects its critical condition. There is a tiny clump of loose fur wedged inside its breathing tract. It does not completely block the airway, but with every shallow gasp, the obstruction slides deeper. The moment he uncovers this hidden threat, his self-taught observation skill triggers a sudden, powerful upgrade within the system, evolving his basic plant observation into full biological observation. His spiritual power surges. He is getting stronger. His combat rating climbs. Diagnosing the threat triggered this breakthrough, boosting his own strength right alongside the cub's diagnosis. He quickly carries the little fox outside to the patch where bamboo jade is planted, placing it down. He asks the plant to help him save a life, needing ultra-thin roots to pull that dangerous fluff out of the cub's airway under his precise mental control. He has never trained for this, but his new sight reveals exactly where. The blockage sits, tiny roots emerge from the soil. He guides them into the cub's tiny nose. Closing his eyes, he locks his mental focus onto the roots, guiding their growth inside, inch by inch. They close in on the target. The moment they make contact, they twist carefully. With his gentle guidance, he slowly draws the two thin roots back out, telling bamboo jade that the cub can finally drink, then asking the plant for a small bamboo tube. He carries the tiny fox back inside, pausing right at the door. As he remembers, bamboo is hollow. He trims a small twig from bamboo jade from both ends, smoothing it down carefully so it won't poke its mouth. Already, Yaya Chan rinses his mouth to ensure no strange tastes remain before taking a mouthful of fox milk, biting the bamboo tube to feed the little beast. Slowly, the weak cub struggles to drink, managing only a tiny fraction of each gulp, but even that small amount is finally reaching its empty stomach. With food inside, its critical condition can slowly start to recover. The whole time he must watch closely. Honestly, one tiny slip-up here could end it all. In over 20 years, this is the first time he has cared for something so carefully. He whispers that it must survive, because only by staying alive can it ever experience the good food, the beautiful sights, and the joy this world holds. He looks down at the empty bowl and gently cradles the cub in his palm, slowly rubbing the soft belly of a creature smaller than his own hand. For the moment, its breathing remains stable, but the cub is still just so small, its fur hasn't even grown in, looking unlike ordinary market fox cubs. A search of the system consignment board turns up plenty of normal cubs. The cheaper ones are basic livestock with soft white, black, yellow, or gray coats. There are over 100 mutated variants, but all of them are perfectly healthy. They look identical to standard stock. Yaya Chan decides to name his tiny cub. He names the little guy Jiang Sang, deeply hoping he can hold on and survive. Unlike the bamboo, which he named after it grew, he names this fox immediately. He registers the pet and pulls up his personal panel to review his progress. Player of Wasteland Zone 77551, name Yaya Chan, talent Nature Serenity. Combat power 16, profession basic planting at level 0 with some experience gained. Active skill biological observation, his simple homestead holds a basic wooden house, a basic water vane, and an extinguished basic fire pit. His fields span exactly 30 and 8/10 square meters. His alien plant, bamboo jade, is growing. His newborn pet, Jiang Sang, is listed as a level 1 mutated fox. He has 99 survival points, and all 7 inventory slots are completely full. Holding firewood, 43 bamboo poles, 31 shoots, 12 seedlings, and 10 random seeds plus 50 wheat seeds. A faint sound comes from the cub. After drinking the milk, it finally moves a little, weakly twitching its mouth before it curls back up and goes totally still. He tells Jiang Sang to be a good boy and sleep well while he goes to plant his fields. Taking off his warm jacket, he lays it on the bed to shape it into a soft nest. He smiles as the cub tries to scratch around weakly. He covers it with an empty sleeve and heads back outside. Those 50 wheat seeds from his supply crate are exactly what he needs to complete today's mission, since wheat takes up very little room. Only half of the small field he cleared near the bamboo is actually used. Each seed planted yields 10 experience. Thus, 50 wheat seeds will grant him 500 planting experience instantly. He looks down at his remaining random seeds, planning next steps. He hesitates over the remaining shoots in his inventory, then heads to yesterday's cleared plot. Landing in the bamboo forest, he plants 12 bamboo seedlings to get 120 experience points plus 10 random seeds for 10 more. Handing in the mission adds 50 extra experience, pushing him to 843 out of 1,000, close to leveling plus 50 more survival points, leaving him at 149 with one unopened pack. Now watch, he opens it, his eyes widening at a basic fertilizer manufacturing furnace in his slot. Finding fertilizer on the trade board is almost impossible. This is definitely not something easily mass-produced. The furnace has a 2x2 footprint and can ferment loaded materials into different types of fertilizer. But the basic level limit means it only processes common items up to level 1. He places the machine in the open yard before the house to inspect it. Since it is just a basic model, higher level materials are completely off limits for now. Unlocking the next tier will likely require an upgrade, but none of his basic gear displays the requirements yet, leaving him completely in the dark. about whether to craft advanced gear from scratch or just raise his profession. Level checking his inventory for basic and level 1 ingredients, he realizes. He has almost nothing, no abundant basics, just a single chili pepper one. Cabbage and some salt left by the bed, along with whatever is in his inventory slots. He decides to run a quick test using his vegetables. He can always harvest more cabbage tomorrow, so he uses his only one. The machine resembles a massive double-door refrigerator split into upper and lower halves. The top door opens to load raw ingredients, while the bottom door retrieves the finished fertilizer. The top is split vertically for loading different items. He tosses in a cabbage, shuts the door, and the system starts processing. It will finish in 3 minutes, while one side locks the other. Remains open for more ingredients. He does not plan to just sit around. He checks on the sleeping Jang Sang, then carries his cutting board over to the stove. He shreds the remaining chili, spends 3 survival points on pork, chops it up and cooks a fresh batch of stir-fried shredded pork. The furnace counts down as he cooks, and the moment he plates his meal, he goes to collect the fertilizer. It is just a low-grade vegetable batch, offering very little nutrition. The lower door opens up into 4 small compartments, holding a tiny pile that goes right into his inventory. It looks exactly like a heap of old vegetable scraps. He takes it to the bamboo jade and piles it on the soil, testing out his creation. He asks the plant if it feels anything. After a quick shake of a twig, a short root pokes up to touch the mixture, growing slightly the second they connect. Before withering away, the thin, dry powder is useless to a plant that actively draws in nutrients, though it might assist ordinary vegetation that does not. He lets the plant know he will try it on the hemostatic grass instead. Gathering up the rejected fertilizer into a wooden bucket, he carries it over, digs a small hole, and buries it. The hemostatic grass is basic. Level 2 in the fresh compost instantly accelerates its growth timer until a dehydrated warning pops up. He quickly fetches some water to douse the soil, watching it shoot ahead until the timer stabilizes. His homemade fertilizer definitely. 1 basic cabbage only cuts down the growth time of simple herbs by 3 hours. It is not worth the cost right now, since fertilizing fields feels useless to a penniless survivor. Instead, he decides to spend 10 survival points on 5 pieces of pure lean meat, burying them for bamboo jade to absorb, before washing up and spending 2 more points on a bowl of white rice. With that and his homemade stir-fried chili shredded pork, he finishes the meal. Still hungry, he scarfs down the bread he got earlier, rubbing his stomach as he realizes his appetite is growing. Full for now, he logs back into the global chat. It is only the 3rd day. And while he has no clue how they died, a massive number of players are already gone. In just 2.5 days, 3,790 people have perished. Wasteland Zone 77 is down to 996,210. Everyone was shocked by the drop at first, but now they are totally numb to it. Nobody talks about the deaths anymore. The channel has settled into a steady, repetitive rhythm. Some discuss their professions, while others warn about dangerous beasts, or whisper about wanting to pack up and relocate their bases. But moving out is easier said than done. A few have tried, only to find that while a wooden house can be moved, the cold fire pit stays put. See, the fire pit is the absolute center of their map, anchoring the whole home. And as many have discovered, the stubborn thing simply refuses to budge. One desperate player tried digging up the dirt around his pit to carry it away. But the system immediately warned him that a basic fire pit cannot be dismantled. Our survivor figures the pit can probably be upgraded later, but it does not matter, because he has absolutely no reason to pack up and leave his safe haven. He looks at his pile of charcoal and realizes he never once thought about moving. He is a farmer. Farming requires fields, and his magical plant, bamboo jade, has already taken root here, growing a wild grove that does whatever it wants. Moving is impossible. All he can do is clear land and grow. After finishing lunch, he heads back out to water his newly planted crops. He has 3 from day 1, 10 from day 2, and 72 more from today. His willow trees are nearly ready. The level 1 sapling will be ready to cut in about 30 minutes, while the rest will have to wait until tomorrow morning. Today's batch will take the longest. His 50 level 1 wheat crops need 5 days, and the 12 bamboo shoots require 72 hours before they can be harvested. As for the 10 random seeds, they all turned out to be ordinary vegetables. 2 of the bok choy plants will be ready tomorrow, It is drizzling lightly. But this weak rain does nothing for the dry dirt, so he waters them manually. Instantly, the green leaves perk right up. He tells his plant he is leaving to gather more wood, planning to bring Jang Sang inside wrapped up in dry clothes. So there will be no issues. He pats the massive bamboo stalk and heads out. He walks toward the nearest dead trees, which are over 400 meters away. Swing after swing, he digs, keeping his minimized chat window open to watch the others. The world chat is filled with lies and truth, good people and bad. Honestly, he knows he is not some legendary hero with a heart of steel. All he wants is to protect his own peace and quiet in this wasteland. But in his local area, other players are already making new discoveries. They're close friends and relatives. At first, everyone celebrated each other's success and envied their good luck, but in just over 2 days, things took a pretty nasty turn with people exposing and cursing each other online. Even with a strict limit of 3 daily messages, the drama still explodes. Giving everyone some great entertainment, keeping an eye on the clock, he digs up 2 trees and rushes back to harvest his willow leaves. His willow is finally ready, standing at just 2.5 meters tall with drooping branches marked for harvest. He reaches up to pluck a single willow leaf, a basic material, and keeps going, pulling off leaf after leaf, until 13 ordinary ones are down and the 14th is a level one. Compared to the others, it is slightly larger and thicker. He collects them all and keeps going. With the leaves gone, only 2 harvestable branches remain. They are both level 1, giving him 10 planting experience points when the harvest finishes. Not bad at all, he thinks, though it is unclear how many times he can cut the tree. The system shows nothing. The branches go into his inventory, and the willow status reverts back to a long-term crop in its growth phase. It will be harvestable again in 24 hours, the timer resetting right back to growth. With the cutting done, he asks Bamboo Jade if it can eat them. He holds off on selling, figuring level 1 items have good nutrition. The leaves rustle and Bamboo Jade sends him an eager, hungry vibe. He smiles, promising a delicious treat. Then he digs a small hole and places 2 level 1 branches and 4 level 1 leaves right inside. After covering them with soil, a thick bamboo root creeps over, branching into tiny rootlets that tightly wrap the items and slowly digest them. If you like it, that is great, he tells the plant, promising more. During tomorrow's harvest, feeling the happy energy it sends back makes him genuinely happy. He still has no idea what feeding it actually does. But since Bamboo Jade loves the taste, he will keep doing it. He decides to make this a regular habit. Looking at the clock, it is barely past 2, so he heads back out to find withered trees. After clearing 2 trees, he spots a fresh supply crate at the 3rd. It is tangled in the dead branches, so he digs up the tree, toppling it over as the loot spills onto the floor. Opening it, he finds 3 items: a gathering glove, 6 bottles of water, and 2 loaves of bread. Since his home has water, he immediately lists the 6 portions for 5 survival points. The glove is hand equipment with 15 defense and a 2% drop rate boost for manual gathering. But that bonus only applies to gathering professions. It is completely useless to him directly, though the buff makes it quite valuable. He checks the market interface for similar items to estimate the proper price, gasping when the lowest is listed for 205 survival points. Realizing its value, he lists his at the same price. While many players struggle to eat, others are actually getting pretty rich. Gatherers pull extra rare drops, like seeds and saplings, as they work. They say hunting down other players works similarly, potentially dropping extra gear or even rare living beasts after a kill. Meanwhile, planting and breeding have their own special events too. His own massive Bamboo Jade is exactly that, a mutated plant that crossed specific conditions twice to successfully evolve from a simple mutated crop into a sentient, conscious plant. The two are not quite the same thing, since a mutant plant without self-awareness is still just a crop serving as a decorative piece, boosting yields or even producing further mutations, while the breeding profession runs on a very similar pattern. Just like how his former cousin once posted in the chat that once you raise a special mutated beast, it can guard your house. Soon, the gathering glove and 6 portions of drinking water all sell within minutes, earning him 5 survival points on their own, bringing the supply crate total to 210 survival points, with 2 loaves of bread tucked into his inventory for dinner. In high Spirits he keeps hunting for fresh withered trees, scanning the dry ground for another crate as he runs, but these crates are never common, and he fails to find a second one before nightfall. Some days the wasteland is highly generous, and other days it just hands you firewood, and he has learned never to argue with it. He heads home before dark, greets Bamboo Jade first, and ducks inside to check on the little fox. The pink-skinned cub has already woken, shifting slowly inside the clothes he wrapped around it, a thin layer of white fuzz already coming in over the bare skin. He tells Zhang Zhang it is growing fast, and if he had not bound the clothes so tightly, it would have crawled right out, meaning it must be hungry. He unwraps it, lifts the warm little creature into his hand, tosses the clothes aside, and spends 10 survival points on a portion of fox milk. It can move now, but it is still incredibly weak and sickly, making a sound fainter than a mosquito, yet this time it manages to lap the milk from the bowl on its own while it drinks. He slips outside once to add firewood to the pit before dark, then comes back inside to help. He keeps a hand braced under it so it does not topple in, and it slowly works through the bowl, resting after every few sips before finding the strength to go on. The bottom of the bowl shows by 12 minutes shy of 7 in the evening. It took a full hour, but the cub kept the milk down, and after another sleep its fur should be nearly grown. He gently rubs its belly, watches it curl up shivering, and settles it back into the clothes at the head of the bed. Now it is his turn to eat, and there are still over 30 small bamboo shoots at home, tiny but plentiful. He spends 3 survival points on a piece of well-marbled pork, slicing and stir-frying it. The 2 loaves of afternoon bread serve as his main staple. Before sitting, he scrubs the pot and sets water boiling so he can mix it later for a warm bath. A rush of swaying leaves makes him stop mid-meal, and he reaches out to catch the bamboo twig leaning close. He asks Bamboo Jade if there is prey around, putting down his chopsticks to grab the reclamation hoe and slip into the bamboo grove, sparse as the grove is. He is the best bait standing inside it, while the fragile little fox stays shut inside the house, the closed door blocking any nearby beast from spotting or targeting it. Feeling the root system shifting underground, he grips a nearby stalk, explaining exactly to Bamboo Jade how to dig the trap. The trick is his goal is simple: do not cut them off yet, trick them first. Make them believe the threat is just him and some swaying twigs. It is the surest trap. He has never fought a whole pack alone, though. Still, other hunters online warn that taking down an entire pack is absolute misery. If a hunter kills them too fast, the rest will quickly bolt. They will dig in, hiding in the brush, waiting to take their bloody revenge. And right near his home, a pack has spawned, 15 level 1 wolves, dangerous. They sense him. Slowly, they circle around, trying to close a pincer grip on him. Leaves rustle, shedding rainwater. Suddenly, a fresh bamboo shoot sprouts right beside his hand. It climbs incredibly fast. He hooks his grip onto the shoot as it surges upward. When it stops, he has one arm wrapped tightly around a joint in the stalk. He hangs there over 3 meters high, perfect bait, safely strung up in the air. Below, nearby twigs start swaying in scattered sections. This is about to get messy. It sounds exactly like a creature darting through the bamboo. The illusion is simple. Maybe a bit thin, no footsteps, but wolves are simple beasts, easily fooled by noise. They follow the sound blindly. Meanwhile, he quietly tells his companion, Bamboo Jade, to dig. There is no rush to shape the pit beneath, just offset at a touch. Closing his eyes, he enters observation mode, guiding Bamboo Jade through the soil. They carve right through the roots. The trap is wide, deep, and incredibly lethal. Spikes wait at the bottom. To keep any wolf from leaping clear, a barrier rises. Bamboo sprouts around the pit, with a second ring of slanted stalks woven through. The green stalks braid into a tight, impenetrable mesh as they rapidly grow. All of this takes time. Thankfully, the pack needs time to pinpoint his spot. After a tense standoff of over half an hour, his arms are growing completely numb. Suddenly, the wolves fix his position. One howling cry breaks the heavy silence. 4 adult wolves charge from different directions, rushing straight into the open space. 2 massive leaps tell them they cannot reach him. He is just too high. Frustrated, the beasts keep yipping, calling the rest of the pack to join them. Once the first batch realizes there is no danger and he is helpless. Just dangling high above, 4 more wolves sprint in, but he is not passive. He snaps a nearby stalk, leaving a jagged edge as sharp as a sword. Then he starts jabbing downward. He catches a wolf square, direct hit. A jagged tip tears through fur, carving a bloody gash. he is perfectly safe. After 10 minutes of constant, frustrating needling, the last 7 wolves finally slip in. They sneak behind, trying to ambush him from his blind spot. Not a chance. He swings around the stalk, watching closely as the level 1 wolves pack the trap. When the moment is right, he signals Bamboo Jade to spring the snare. Underground, the vast root system stirs. It channels power directly into the fence. Roots are instantly drained, withering and shattering to dust beneath the heavy soil. Without root support, the ground collapses. The trap finally reveals its true face. Wolves scramble desperately, clawing at the dirt, but their footing is completely gone. They slip, they slide, they plunge downward alongside a massive cascade of earth. The pit is only slightly over 2 meters deep, meaning the spikes do not kill them instantly, but once trapped inside, there is absolutely no escape. The layered bamboo begins pressing down diagonally, flattening them all beneath the massive weight. At the top, roots that consume the soil wind into dense, tight coils that the wolves cannot gnaw or claw through, while overhead, a lid of interlaced bamboo spreads thicker, only a few small holes remain. Then Bamboo Jade lowers him to stand right above those holes, where he reaches down repeatedly to grab the bamboo growing within reach, each stalk snapping off with a sharp, slanted cut. He drives the makeshift spears straight through the gaps and into the trap, and at first his slower jabs let a wolf or two dodge, but as he keeps at it, the bamboo builds into walls. They are cornered. Now they must take the cuts. The slaughter goes slowly, partly because a single wolf is tough to finish, and partly because the area is wide and the bamboo needs time to grow. Every time a wolf dies, Bamboo Jade's roots consume its organs and flesh entirely, leaving only a hide riddled with holes for him to collect in the morning. The more it eats, the more nutrients return and the faster it regrows. By the time all 15 level 1 wolves are dealt with, Bamboo Jade's combat power has jumped straight to 25. 10 points up, it feeds itself and he does the chores. That is the division of labor in this house. He leans on a stalk and walks back to the fire. Light so wrung out he can barely stand, but he cannot sleep yet because dinner is unfinished, so he washes his hands. He sits down to a cold meal. The water in the pot has gone ice cold too, and he tells Bamboo Jade he will add more firewood, scooping a bowl full to drink before he feeds the stove and fetches half a bucket to top it off. Once it boils, he washes the bowls and plates and puts them away. He rinses his clothes. He hangs them up, then draws fresh cold water, tempers it with the last of the hot, and gives himself a warm sponge bath. He pats the twigs by the door and tells Bamboo Jade he is sleeping first and will clean up the trap when he wakes in the morning. With it standing guard, he sleeps easy, and trust me, what wakes him next is a total surprise. A fluffy little fox rubbing against his face is what startles him out of a dream. He tilts his head to look at the soft fellow and smiles because its orange fur has grown out, short still, but at a normal thickness now, and it can move and walk freely, which means its body is healing. It is still incredibly weak and growing up, or growing strong will take time, but the sickly tag is gone. His panel reads it now as a level 1 mutated fox, an intelligence type and exploration type with combat power 2. Its only skill is bite, with intimacy at 100%, tagged with the grace of rebirth in the bond of nurturing. The cub rubs its head against his finger, so he scoops it into his palm, even free of that sickly mark. It is still tiny, vanishing in a single hand. It is hungry, and after a little play, it hugs his thumb, begging for food in the most pitiful way. He tells Jen, saying it cannot eat meat straight yet, that it still needs fox milk, but that he saw meat paste for sale and will stir a little in. He buys a bowl of fox milk and a bowl of meat paste, mixing a small amount of each into an empty bowl with more milk than meat, then sets it down. It eats, so he mixes the rest the same way across 2 bowls for it to work through slowly. He strokes its head, telling it to eat first because he is stepping out to look around, and with its intelligence tag, it understands him plainly, even as a cub, carrying the shirt he used for its nest. He heads outside, greets Bamboo Jade, then washes. He hangs the wet shirt on a dry twig. The system panel marks the start of day 4 just before 7 in the morning. Sunny, wind force 2, 25 degrees. His 3 dailies are kind today: reclaim 10 square meters of farmland, plant 20 seeds, and handle 5 planting events, each paying survival points, farming experience, and a gift. Pack a fine day with mild weather and easy missions. If his luck holds, he might push his profession level up. He tells Bamboo Jade there is no rush, and he We'll clean up the trap, and the wolf hides one by one once it is fully light. Adjusting the mechanism while he is at it, Bamboo Jade is urging him along, but it is not bright enough yet. Going out now would mean working entirely by spiritual power. After last night, he is still a little weak. Breakfast first, then work. He has just spent 13 survival points on the cub's food, and so he spends another 8 on meat, vegetables, and a portion of player-made noodles for himself. Fortunately, he still has 290 points to spare. He cuts the fatty meat into small pieces, the lean into strips, the cabbage stalks into shreds, rendering the fat in the pot, frying the lean meat until it changes color before adding the shredded cabbage until it softens. Water goes in, brought to a boil. The players' hand-pulled noodles are dropped in with a little salt. Once it boils again, he tears in the cabbage leaves. 10 minutes or so and breakfast is ready. Stir-fried pork and cabbage noodles are ready. Cooking breakfast in a wasteland is not doing so badly. He goes in and carries the now full little fox out, placing it on the patch where Bamboo Jade grows. He tells the cub to play here and stay away from the water while he eats his food. Now that the little creature is healthy and active, it cannot stay shut indoors all day. The cub wanders about in the soil, then pads over to the bamboo and rubs its head against it, acting cute and rolling around until its clean orange fur is gray with dust. Seeing it amusing itself, he washes his hands and eats, savoring his noodles while the little fox grows livelier by the minute. Soon, it finds a small section of root in the soil, nips it, tastes sweetness, and starts pawing at the dirt for more. He tells Bamboo Jade to humor the pup for now, but warns that once the cub grows up, it might dig pits all around the roots. Bamboo Jade keeps growing little roots just to tease Jang, so he reminds the plant to show some restraint or it will foster the cub's habit of digging holes and wrecking the place. A rustle of swaying leaves answers that this is the only way it can play with the cub right now, as it can hardly do more. What else can it do, the plant seems to ask? Dig a hole and let the cub crawl in and out, or shake twigs from above to coax pouncing. When the cub is so tiny, none of those games would fit. He concedes the point and tells it to play gently. He will finish eating and tidy up, and it should be near daybreak by then. Feeling the plants grumble, he looks at the cub and admits there really is not much else the two of them can play. The bamboo has a fair point. There is not much sport to be had with a creature smaller than his hand. Eating on, he opens the chat to see what players are saying. Wasteland. Zone 77 reads 995,000, hundreds fewer than yesterday, and they have stopped tallying the dead. Everyone is used to it. The channel is the usual avalanche. One man brags that 7 wolves circled his fire all night. Another tops him, claiming over a dozen house-sized tigers. A third mentions 2 dragons loom out of the dark. The boasting keeps climbing until someone claims a beautiful fairy came to teach him the Tao. The crowd shouts those dreamers down, but then a quieter voice swears he found a cultivation method listed on the trading interface last night, snapped up before he could even look twice. The chat channel splits between those calling it nonsense and those arguing that in a world where everyone holds a special talent, cultivation and superpowers and magic are hardly impossible. Someone with an animal language talent reports 2 rabbits plotting to raid his vegetables. Someone boasts of gaining 1 combat power a day. Someone else 10,000, promising to sweep the region tomorrow. Then a serious soul cuts in to ask whether everyone should be building more fences since the nights keep getting less safe. Most do not believe the cultivation method claim, though not because the thing could not exist, only because they doubt anyone would actually sell one. Honestly, you can't blame him for wondering if it's even real. And there is no good reason to deny it. After all, with no knowledge at all, just fumbling on his own, he worked out a biological observation skill run on spiritual power, and players who once studied Qiang or old martial arts might genuinely carve out their own paths of growth. He decides that as a man who has learned nothing, he should just honestly farm. He tells Bamboo Jade it is light out to watch the cubs so it does not fall in the water, because he is off to collect the trap materials. He thought about a great deal and arrived at nothing useful, but as some players said, cultivation or superpowers or magic or technology can all wait until they are actually in hand. For firewood credit. The moment he reaches the trap, before he has even straightened up at the first piece of dried bamboo, and all the dead bamboo and wood in front of him reads as ready to gather. The pieces crisscrossed across the top of the trap turn into 3 to 5 firewood each as he pulls them free, and the snapped halves become Withered bamboo he has to dig out. He leaves the still standing ones for later. And clears the piled wreckage first, picking it up in a circle, then climbs down into the pit and digs out all the dried bamboo at the base, along with the firewood. There are 15 pieces of broken level 1 wolf hide and 136 units of level 1 beast bone scattered through it. He tells Bamboo Jade they will keep this. Trap and dig it deeper when there is time, since the roots above will keep it flat, and if more prey wanders by soon, they will drive it in. Climbing out, he digs the withered bamboo with the reclamation hoe and chats with Bamboo Jade as he goes. One of them talking and the other answering and feeling. Now and then he checks the channel and passes along whatever new discovery another player has turned up. The hoe runs out of durability and he spends 10 survival points on a fresh one, and by the time the last broken stub of withered bamboo is dug out, it is 10 in the morning, 2 hours gone clearing the remains of one trap. He comes back and washes his hands, glances at the little orange fox asleep in the dirt under the tree and pats the bamboo without waking it. He fetches his dried shirt, puts it on, and goes to the crafting bench to deal with the hides. The badly damaged wolf hides cannot be repaired and can only be worked by adding cloth, and coarse linen cloth has fallen hard from 11 survival points down to 6 a unit, and thread is down to 2. He buys 4 of each, pairing them with broken hides into a level 1 wolfhide coarse cloth mattress. It takes 30 minutes to craft and leaves it. He lists the 136 beast bones at 2 points each. 272 in all, gone in under a minute. His survival points hit 530. In a great mood, he finds a clearing at the grove's edge and starts the daily 10 square meters of land reclamation, a small enough patch to clear quickly. After about half an hour, the first quest finishes, giving 10 points and 10 experience, plus a gift pack that yields only 10 survival points. Instead of rushing the planting for the second mission, he levels the new ground and tackles mission 3, managing 5 crops that need watering, weeding, and care, wrapping up with light maintenance that pays 50 points and 50 experience in the premium gift pack. Word on the street is this richest daily pack is the one most likely to drop something rare. It grants him 10 seeds, which is not a massive shock, but still way better than 10 survival points. For the second quest, he drops 83 survival points on 10 more random seeds to reach the 20 needed. Planting them 3 at a time, 3 straight sprouts turn out to be medicinal. First hemostatic grass, then snake-repelling grass, and finally peony. Each is a seedling. Harvestable in 3.5 days. Medicinal herbs rarely ever drop from these random seeds, so pulling 3 straight instantly boosts his spirits. By the end of all 20, he scores 14 medicinal herbs, 2 bananas, and 4 vegetables. His luck today is on another level. He washes his hands in a puddle, looking back at the row of labels with genuine pride. Among his ordinary planted crops, vegetables are the cheapest on the market, but they also grow the absolute fastest. The mission rewards another 20 experience and adding 20 more. From planting, his total reaches 953. Ginseng wakes up and runs over on its tiny, short legs. He scoops the little creature up, asking if it is hungry, then leans back against the bamboo to clean the dirt-caked furball. It fell asleep face down in the dirt and rolled around until filthy. The little guy shakes its head, hugging his finger and rubbing against it, not hungry or sleepy at all, just eager to play. He grabs a wiggling twig nearby, shaking the leaves to tease his tiny pet. Then, remembering the mattress is done, he tells Ginseng they should go inspect their new bed. Eager to finally say goodbye to those rock-hard wooden bedboards, he carries the cub inside, lifts the finished mattress off the bench, and lays it on the tiny wooden frame. It is wrapped in 4 pieces of coarse linen, wolf hide sealed snugly. Inside the core, tight thread is sewn in 6 neat rows, creating a thick 4-centimeter cushion. He lies down to test it, and compared to the bare boards, it is so incredibly soft and warm he could pass out right there. The system panel displays its stats. A level 1 wolfhide coarse cloth mattress, 2 meters by 1, with sleep comfort plus 15. Recovery speed plus 5% and full durability. It is a bit larger than the wooden bed, but as long as it sits on the frame, the stat buffs still apply. The head of the mattress tilts up a bit and the sides overlap, but he can easily manage. The real issue is that his current cabin cannot fit a proper level 1 bed frame, which stretches over 2 meters, plus another 10 centimeters with the headboard and footboard. Upgrading to a real bed must wait until he finds house blueprints to level up his shelter. Suddenly remembering the unopened gift pack, he sets the cub down He dumps them out on the mattress, opening up 10 level 1 coriander seeds. Since these are level 1, he can finally level up, his heart racing with anticipation. Every part of him has been waiting for this moment as he carries the tiny seeds. He heads to an unplanted reclaimed patch, clears it, and pokes 10 shallow holes. He buries them close together, and planting all 10 instantly boosts his experience. The panel reads 1053 out of 1000. An upgrade is finally available. With an excited hand, he confirms it, and the panel announces his profession level has risen. To level 1, unfortunately, basic crops will no longer grant him any experience. Now upgrades for all basic buildings, facilities, and furniture are unlocked. Though they are capped at level 1 for now, talk about a double-edged sword. Bad news is that basic crops are now only useful for completing missions. Good news is that everything inside his house can finally be upgraded. With upgrades unlocked, his crafting bench requires 200 level 1 metal parts, along with 200 level 1 cloths, far more than he can gather right now. The reward is a bench that crafts common items and allows bulk production. Up to 10 items at once. Meanwhile, the house upgrade requires 500 materials, specifically level 1 building materials, 10 accessories, and 50 renovation materials. For a 5x5 footprint, 3.5 meter height and temperature control, plus 100 defense and 1000 durability, which he cannot process yet. He has never even seen an accessory, and renovation materials are still locked. Until the bench reaches level 1, the bed can upgrade too, but it would not fit. So it stays for now. Stepping outside, he finds the one thing he can actually improve. Right now, the fire pit. It started as a basic newbie pit before being relit into a basic pit. Fortunately, upgrading it is a very simple process. It only costs survival points, and he has 537 of the required 500. The upgraded pit lights a 10-meter radius with a gentle, fading warmth. Remembering how blind he was when the wolves came at night, he hesitates at the cost. But he upgrades it anyway so his crops back home get a little extra protection. The moment he confirms, the pit that held only a few small sticks erupts into flames over 2 meters high before settling down. The small ring expands, becoming a large circle. 6 2-meter timbers lean together vertically with twigs. Nestled in the middle, he feeds in one piece of firewood and it still burns. For the exact same 1 minute, meaning it still accepts basic fuel after ranking up. Standing close, he feels the real heat now, though the warmth drops off quickly. As he steps back, he can no longer plant near the pit, but that is fine. There are only 3 herbs left, and the hemostatic grass is ready to harvest. So it works out, that front patch has been stepped on too much anyway. To plant anything there again, in the last bit of soil-holding crops there is just 1 hemostatic grass, 1 dandelion, and 1 plantain herb, all pretty small. He digs up the ready hemostatic grass using his reclamation hoe. The system registers it as a medicinal herb that can be crafted into ointment, at a ratio of 3 grasses to 1 ointment, which is useless to him now. And bamboo jade has no interest in it either, so he decides to list it on the trading interface for 8 survival points, a decent price for a common herb. Then he walks over to bamboo jade, patting the giant stalk as its leaves rustle. Yaya Chan explains why a tiny scrap of medicinal herb costs several times more than a head of cabbage because players desperately need it when they are hurt. They need to stop the bleeding, and when their spirit runs low, they must restore spiritual power fast. Right now, the priciest herbs of all are the ones that directly mend health. A cabbage only feeds a person, but a herb keeps death away. Standing between a player and the dark, he tells his cub to play with bamboo jade and not run off, explaining that he is heading out to gather wood and find crates. Another crate. Suddenly his heatic grass sells the moment he steps out. The chat he glances at runs the usual complaints of injured players whose kills will not even cover the medicine, alongside gatherers who hit poisonous plants or venomous insect traps near their resource spots. Every profession has its own teeth. The more he reads, the better his own peaceful situation looks because he was never one to fixate on the future, happy as long as he lives in peace. Many preach about clawing to the front of the pack so that when players are finally connected, they can lead the rhythm rather than follow it, and the topic kicks up the usual mess of agreement, complaints, and insults. He does not want to join anyone, leading or serving, free from contact. He grew up where everyone around him was a villain, and he will not pretend to be a saint. Among them, with no skills or knowledge, comparing himself to others only brings up a painful lack of advantages. It stings, so he chooses not to compare. Yaya Chan pushes down the tree he just dug out, gathering the wood and firewood, and runs toward the next withered trunk, telling himself that his home's real advantage is not him, so there is no sense feeling sorry. He must just keep working, digging up a few more trees before dark. He clears over 30 trees that afternoon but finds not a single crate. Returning home before dark, he harvests the level 1 willow first. He feeds the leaves and branches to bamboo jade for 10 experience points. Then he gathers the first day's medicinal herbs, the second day's vegetables, and yesterday's bok choy. None of them yield experience now, only usable materials. He lists the medicinal stock for 13 survival points and the vegetables he does not want for 14 more. His panel lists him as a player. Wasteland Zone 7751 Yaya Chan. Talent Nature Serenity. Combat Power 16. Basic Planting at Profession Level 1 with 63 of 10,000. Experience Skill Biological Observation. His home holds a basic wooden house, a basic water vane, an extinguished Level 1 fire pit, and a basic field of 38.3 square meters. There is bamboo jade, his conscious mutated bamboo in its growth stage, and Jang Sang, his Level 1 mutated fox in its growth stage. He has 72 survival points with 7 slots. Full packed with wood, firewood, thin bamboo poles, and a few vegetables. Crowding them, 72 points is not yet 100, so he cannot buy much, but there is plenty of level 1 wood in his slots, enough to start making building materials. Since it is not dark yet, he holds off on the fire to search the crafting bench for building material, which reads as 3 level 1 wood per unit, taking 1 minute to craft. There are several choices like wood, stone, metal, weeds, or soil, and the upgrade is not tied to a single type, though the raw material likely shapes the look and feel of the upgraded house. He sets it to craft just 1 unit, quick but needing constant watch, and he almost never has that much time to stand waiting. He sets it going and steps out to the pit. 5 minutes to dark, so he feeds the pit 846 firewood, confirming it will burn until tomorrow's dawn. He finally starts preparing dinner, buying 2 pieces of meat and mincing them. He boils water, drops the meat in his meatballs, adds bok choy and cabbage leaves. Once it boils again, he adds some player-made hand-pulled noodles, and just like that, dinner is served. He scrubs the pot, fills it up, and sets it boiling for later washing and bathing. While dinner cools, he buys more meat, paste, and fox milk, mixing Jen Sang's dinner. A rustle of leaves says bamboo jade is still full from last night and does not need to eat now. He tells it that it is dinner time. They eat together, and he suggests cabbage afterward too. Stay hydrated. He digs a hole, sets down the cabbage he plucked a few leaves from, lays another whole cabbage beside it, and covers them. This is bamboo jade's dinner. He admits he is being a bit obsessive, but he just likes eating with the creatures at home, whatever species they are. What really matters to him is that they are all a family. The twigs sway without any wind, as if bamboo jade is telling him it will eat its dinner well. The cub circles the table, eyeing its own small bowl and plate 1 second and his own large basin the next. He decides the bowl is no good and switches to using 2 basins instead. His because there is soup and vegetables and meat at once, and the cub's because its milk and paste have to be mixed evenly, and a basin holds it better. The fox leans in to rub its head against the back of his hand. It will grow up fast, and then it can eat meat straight, young or not. Jen Sang speaks normally now, never too young to follow him. Every single animal and plant in this world crosses a major threshold before its mind wakes. Once it is tagged intelligent, it understands what the players say. A new awakening might start out completely ignorant and blurry, but that is only a passage. Once the status reads clear, the creature is fully lucid. He smooths its fur and tells it to eat, then rest well because other creatures might come in the night. He pours a decent amount of the mixed paste onto a plate, so it eats easily, refilling as it clears each portion. He eats his own, tending the cub, chatting with bamboo jade between bites. After dinner, he remembers building materials on the bench, the things he somehow always forgets when he gets busy, and goes inside to collect the finished ones, load new stock, and come back to scrub and put away all the tableware. Only then does he set another batch crafting, washes his hair and clothes, bathes, hangs everything to dry, and sets the workbench one last time before bed. He does not want to keep staring at the countdown, so he sets the the cub at the head of the bed and lies down. Tonight he sleeps on a mattress with much more comfort, and as long as absolutely nothing wild comes calling tonight, he expects to sleep until broad daylight, but the next morning brings a massive shift to the dailies. Day 5 just past 7 in the morning. Clear wind force 4, 27 degrees, and the missions are no longer about reclaiming or ordinary planting. The bar is raised. Straight to level 1, water 40 fields, plant 20 level 1 crops, and then raise the field level by 1 square meter. The rewards are climbing with the difficulty. The second paying 200 survival points and 200 experience, and the daily missions are not the only ones refreshed, because the random survival mission has also reset. His random profession quest and survival mission have both finally updated. The survival quest wants him to find a marked supply crate, warning of hidden dangers nearby. The reward is a teleportation portal to a player survival minigame, a survival minigame. Meanwhile, his profession quest reads almost like a direct insult, scolding him. Claims a planter who cannot even grow his own seeds is truly pathetic. Then it demands he cultivate 100 sets of level 1 seeds. He only has 3 days, but the reward is a seedling breeding field. This makes complete sense, since being a planter who cannot afford seeds is maddening. But that survival minigame portal is a completely different story. It seems to be a game open to all professions, but how many players are there? He tries to guess what kind of game it is, knowing this world never plays fair. There is absolutely no way they will just let players have simple fun. Danger will surely tag along, just like the crate he is supposed to track down. First, he decides to knock out his daily tasks before dealing with these quests. Slipping out of bed, he starts crafting a unit of building material. Worrying solves absolutely nothing, and he still needs to attempt these missions. He has no idea if the minigame is fun, but one thing is clear. It only unlocked because his profession hit level 1, meaning it ties to strength. Especially since no public method for boosting combat power has been revealed yet. The 2 times he unlocked skills on his own were pure, lucky flukes anyway. That is not something any regular player can just easily grind out through effort. After carefully weighing his safety, he steps outside only to freeze in absolute shock. The golden chest is sitting directly across from his door, right by the fire. Just like that, all his cautious plans instantly fly right out the window. I mean, talk about incredible timing. He gently places his sleepy little cub back down. He shuts the window and equips his gear, refusing to recklessly rush the chest. First, he washes his face at the muddy puddle and greets his companion, Bamboo Jade. He needs to open it himself, but he does not have to step foot on the ground. He asks the plant to grow a massive stalk to lift him safely into the air. It can lower him over the chest, then pull him back once it is open. The area looks completely clear and the ground is flat, but it is way too flat. All the pebbles are arranged in eerily neat, orderly rows. He patrols this small plot daily, so there is no way this happened by chance. With a rustle of its leaves, Bamboo Jade agrees to carry him across. Not knowing how much the chest might hold, he empties out almost all his inventory slots. He keeps only his basic wood and firewood, then turns to a fresh, thick stalk. He climbs up the sturdy bamboo plant hand over foot, reaching 15 or 16 meters high. The green bamboo is incredibly steady, showing absolutely no signs of swaying under his weight. The giant stalk slowly begins to tilt, carrying him directly toward the target. It leans a bit for him to adjust, then tilts a bit more, step by step. This repeats until he hangs just 4 or 5 meters away, close enough to reach out. The extreme tilt brings the base of the bamboo nearly flat to the dirt. Dangling from the very tip, he touches the golden lid and pushes it wide open. Instantly, dark smoke erupts from the soil, triggering a deadly trap from all sides. A dense shower of poison needles sprays everywhere, but his bamboo companion is already moving. The plant has already flung him clear, turning him into a literal human projectile for a split second. Before he can even think, he crashes straight into a thick patch of twigs. He grabs a fistful as the patch slowly sets him down, then rushes forward. He stops a dozen meters behind Bamboo Jade, watching the chaotic scene through the lattice of stalks. While the main body is safe, the other nearby bamboo withers and dies instantly, including the stalks on both sides of his house. The entire grove turns a dead gray within seconds, the outer walls of his house, the little grove by the wheat field across the path, and even the ground around the fire. pit are coated in grayish-black ash. He asks Bamboo Jade if it is all right, and once the smoke clears after a few minutes, he walks up to pat the main body. Checking it himself, he finds the plant happy, its roots undamaged and surface. Tubes completely healthy. Everything is fine except the wretched ring around his fire pit. Where the golden chest once sat, now only a glowing vertical halo of light hangs. There, a minigame teleportation portal. There was nothing else inside that chest at all, just a deadly trap. Once it was opened, the mission submitted itself automatically, summoning this portal, a corrosive poison box that nearly melted them both alive, and the reward for surviving is a door to some new hell that probably wants to cook him again. The portal description reads that players can enter a survival minigame once a day, resetting at midnight. The map, point earning, and point spending methods are all completely randomized. A new tab opens in his personal status screen, dedicated solely to survival minigame records. Only the once-a-day rule and midnight reset are fixed, everything else is random. Talk about frustrating. Below that are the records he can view, which are empty. For now, no clear record, 0 points, and absolutely no rewards earned yet. He closes the screen, looks back at the glowing upright oval, and reaches out. To touch it, today's match reads, Map Thunder Field, Mode Dodge Lightning Perk. Random Treasure Chest. The words rise from the center as his finger makes contact. Below the text, a miniature simulation plays out, a tiny sphere. And small cylinders run endlessly, dodging bolts of lightning while occasionally opening chests. Suddenly, a massive bolt strikes the figure, ending the game right there. The warning is clear. Getting hit means instant failure, and he has no idea what actually happens to his real body if he gets struck. Still, there is no choice. He has to play to get stronger, since his basic skills are still lacking. All he can do is toughen his body and spirit to survive here, even. So he must clean up this massive mess and eat some breakfast first. Going into a death trap on an empty stomach is just asking for trouble. Suddenly, a cry from the house draws him back, and a system prompt shows his basic wooden home is damaged. It requires 10 level 1 wood to repair, which he approves. The damaged wall instantly refreshes back to its pristine state. He opens the door and scoops up the little fox waiting inside, whispering that everything is totally fine now. He explains it was just a poison trap, and Bamboo Jade yanked him clear to protect him. He gently tells the creature to stay inside while he cleans up the toxic soil outside to speed up recovery. It nods obediently, and he sets it back down on the mattress. After opening the windows, he steps outside with a reclamation hoe to clear away the contaminated soil near the entrance. Mixing fresh dirt with the old speeds up the toxic breakdown. No need to dig deep. Just a quick sweep over the surface, and the whole job is done in under an hour. Next up is breakfast. Cooking is completely out of the question. Seeing his ruined, corroded furniture left him pretty traumatized by the poison. He refuses to cook on a toxic stove, so he dumps it. The table and chairs go directly into the fertilizer furnace for disposal. Processing these heavy wooden items will take 10 hours. He must buy food. He buys himself some braised beef, white rice, and meat paste for the cub, plus 5 pieces of Tier 1 beef for Bamboo Jade, costing 23 survival points. That leaves him 30 points. He plates the paste for Jang Sang. Placing a bowl of water nearby, he buries the 5 beef pieces under the bamboo. He stands close by to eat, awkwardly cradling his bowl of braised beef. Balancing his rice on his wrist, he explains his plan to Bamboo Jade. Water is plentiful, so he is heading inside the portal to explore. The cub will stay behind to play, keeping a watchful eye on their home. It should be safe, but wild beasts could always wander in during his absence. Once he teleports to the new map, he won't be able to see his home. If anything goes wrong, it all falls on Bamboo Jade, absolutely everything. Material things do not matter, because anything lost can easily be rebuilt or replaced. Safety comes first. The shaking twigs signal that the plant fully understands. If an unstoppable threat arrives, Bamboo Jade will grab the cub and hide underground. He tells it to wait, though he might get kicked out of the zone immediately. Feeling pretty weak overall, remembering the previous simulated battle makes him worry. He is genuinely nervous about how he will survive inside the new zone. Cracking jokes about his weakness helps, until a green twig gently pats him. With a warm smile, he waves, slicks his hair back, and charges forward. He enters the minigame. In a brilliant flash of light, he is gone. Left behind in the dirt, the cub stares up with big, worried eyes. Seeing this, two tiny roots poke out of the soil to pat its head. Bamboo Jade gently reminds the little guy that this is their master's battle. There is no need to fear. In reality, their master is incredibly strong. The cub nods, hugging a thick root and biting down on it anxiously. It knows he is strong, but it cannot help worrying about its savior. The chewed root shakes slightly before resting quietly, letting the little beast cope. Their master will surely be fine. For now, they have a home to protect. Meanwhile, things take an extremely chaotic turn. This brand new zone is incredibly dangerous. He is thrown violently to the side upon teleporting, tumbling across the ground. Scrambling back up, he runs frantically through a barren place of dead trees. Bolts of lightning crash down all around him, throwing mud and splinters everywhere. The only way to survive this game is to dodge the strikes. He needs to search for treasure chests, but survival comes first here. Forget about looting right now, he just needs constant, non-stop movement. The very second he pauses, a lightning bolt will strike him down. Run, no time to choose a path, just stay ahead of the thunder. He spots a chest, but danger surrounds it. Lightning flickers on the mud all around, so as he closes in, he breaks his pace and skirts 2 or 3 meters wide of the ring, running on, the bolt chasing him. Strikes down the moment he veers off, exploding in the shallow mud, linking with the ring and blowing that whole patch into a spray. Several meters away, he pushes. Even harder, the second his toes go numb, he leaps and slams into a nearby withered tree which immediately collapses. He braces against the trunk, rolling over in a graceless heap, steps off the trunk and runs on without steadying himself. 2 or 3 minutes of being chased leave his mouth dry, his breath heaving on its own. This brutal trial is no fun, but he knows it is actually a mercy, the survival game. Outside does not demand this much suffering, or 99% of people would die in a single day. He has no breath left to speak, only frantic thoughts rattling in his head. The lightning keeps chasing him, offering no chance to stop and gasp. Once he enters this game, no matter how long he runs, sooner or later a bolt takes him. He knows that if he just stops now, one strike sends him back, but he cannot make himself do it. He has to grow stronger, and this game earns points, so he needs to survive as long as he can, bank those points and trade them for the things he needs. Even if running alone yields nothing, he must run far enough and map out enough of this area to find another way to score. He cheers himself on again and again. Just hold on once more. After who knows how long, he trips on a stone in the mud. As he falls, he twists so his back takes the impact, rolling the instant he hits the ground, scrambling up to run again. Behind him, water splashes, his back stings from fresh scrapes, his legs grow heavier, mud streaks his face and drips off his chin. He cannot give up, absolutely cannot, when his vision starts to blur. He tells himself that quitting means throwing away the top-tier rewards already nearly in his hands. Though he has no idea what they are, he imagines them as he runs, setting a grand goal, quenching his thirst by picturing plums, filling his belly by drawing cakes. It is self-deception, but it is also fuel. Then a metallic sweetness rises in his throat, the taste of blood. But wait, a house. There is a house right ahead. He is so relieved he nearly coughs, forcing his breathing steady as his sluggish, numb legs find speed again, carrying him towards shelter. The shape slowly resolves into a real cabin as he draws closer, a small wooden shack in the swamp forest, already half ruined. Only a few walls are left. Run there, at least reach the house. He urges his lead-heavy legs, setting a small goal. Just reach it before collapsing, he tells himself. The lightning keeps falling behind him, occasionally shocking his legs through the wet ground because he has slowed down. Numbing shocks surge right up his body, but with the goal set, he forces himself forward. His limbs keep moving. And in the daze, his mind throws up an old scene, a rainy, dark night, lightning flashing now and then to light the earth, showing a thin, crippled youth lying in the weeds and shrubs, on a steep hillside, crawling carefully so he triggers nothing that would make a sound. Down on the road at the foot of the hill, people with bright flashlights search the ditches on the slope for a rebellious boy, beaten with a heavy stick by his own parents until the skin on his back was pulp. He was the boy his own blood relations had called a born bad seed. Since he was a few years old, he has to run as far as he can. His eyes are bloodshot, the whites webbing red, creeping toward the dark pupils, just as his entire vision begins to fail. Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet turns dry. The chasing lightning pauses. A notification pops up. He discovered a damaged forest cabin. He has entered a temporary rest area, just 3 minutes of pure safety. A special safe point inside the Thunderfield. When the countdown ends, it disappears. A forest cabin, he wheezes. He slowly drags his stiff, numb legs forward. He grips the rotting wood, stumbling inside through a door frame with no door. His eyes immediately find a wrecked wooden bed, only the frame remains. Only a few rotten planks remain, but that does not matter right now. Under the broken bed sits an unguarded, perfectly safe treasure chest. 2 agonizing steps, the countdown is ticking down right before his eyes. He collapses straight to the ground, desperately reaching out to touch the chest. His fingers pry open the lid. A sudden golden flash blinds him. Before he can even see the prize, his vision goes completely black. Game over. As he exits, a chilling thought lingers. That safe zone was never safe. Then the agony hits. He wakes up groaning on his own land. He lies flat on the grass. The portal hums quietly right behind him. Ahead is his dead fire pit, and the little fox is running over. Beside him, the tiny shoot of bamboo jade is rapidly growing into a young stalk. He gasps, telling them not to move him yet, let him breathe. His entire body is stinging, completely numb from the massive electric shock. I am fine, he insists, just let me lie here, I got some good stuff. Using a few thick roots pushing from the soil, he carefully tilts his body to roll over. Don't worry, he whispers, we made a profit. He lies on the thin twigs and soft leaves bamboo jade gathered for him. Squinting his aching eyes, he pulls up his interface. The minigame was a failure. But anything short of clearing it is a loss. Still, he gained plenty. His interface displays the session stats. Thunderfield evade. 27 minutes and 18 seconds. He earned 27 points and an ability awakening pill for lightning. He easily beat his own expectations. The points are absolutely pitiful, but this reward is a major jackpot. Some players claim they saw a rare cultivation method for sale, which was heavily debated. But back then he figured any superpower would do. Now he thinks that player was probably telling the truth if he can pull an awakening pill. From a simple minigame, a cultivation manual is definitely possible. And since these items are not bound, someone probably just listed theirs. He tells Zheng not to cry. We suffered a little bit, but we came out on top. Tilting his head, he finds the little orange fox standing beside him, crying. Terrified to tears by his state, the creature leans close, gently rubbing its head against his hair to wipe away its rolling tears. Too weak to carry its master back inside. It is fine, he whispers, let me just lie here and soak up the sun. He will crawl back up soon, as he is only exhausted. His legs took some heavy shocks and his back is bruised, but he is whole. Feeling steadier, he pages through his personal info and stops completely short. The lightning awakening pill sits in his slot, awaiting his final confirmation. But his combat power is 21 points. It was 16 before. He checks the system logs, his physical limits shattered. His strength rose, gaining 5 combat power, but opening that treasure chest. It triggered a chest guardian, and that beast ended up wounding him badly. All his hard work never raised his strength. He used to wonder if cultivation techniques were the only way forward. Now he finally gets it, even without a technique, as long as he breaks past his limits repeatedly, he can grow stronger, though breaking past those boundaries is incredibly difficult. Honestly, opportunities like that are very rare in his current daily life. Unless a wild beast attacks him and he breaks through mid-fight, it would be incredibly hard to push himself that far. This changes how he views those training minigames. Beyond simple points, they can force a person past their limits and make them stronger. Then there are those 2 chest logs, the guardian and his failed escape. That flash of brilliant golden light right after the lid opened proved that rest periods only paused the lightning. Other threats remained fully active. Turns out this brutal system might actually have a hidden safety net. It created a harsh training ground where players can risk their lives but not die. He reaches a numb hand up, cradling the little fox to his chest, and squints at the sky while sorting through his theories. In this world, players can die. But if they were pushed to their limits constantly, everyone would be wiped out within days. So once a player finishes basic training and reaches Level 1, this training opens up. Bamboo Jade is confused by all of this. How could such a brutal injury be good training? He assures the plant. Failing only means wounds, and once he is home, he can recover, he can eat well, drink well, and live a peaceful life. Gently he strokes the fox's soft fur while tapping a swaying green twig, and he is genuinely happy with how things are. The escape was brutal, but He grew from it, wanting peace, comfort, and growing power all at once. It's a beautiful dream he never would have dared to imagine before. He knows that in 20-odd years, luck never favored him. Getting something for nothing was never going to happen, but now being able to fight for his own growth without dying is a blessing, an incredible gift. Opportunity handed to him, even if every player gets this exact treatment. This world has still been incredibly generous to him. The sun feels so warm right now. He murmurs that he will sleep just a bit, needing to wake up later to clear more land and plant. His mind relaxes, drowsiness takes over, and his heavy eyes close, he falls asleep. Nearby, the twigs sway gently. Bamboo Jade is a bit dazed by how quickly he drifted off. It wonders if it should block the direct sunlight, even though their master seems to have fallen asleep precisely because he enjoys the warmth. Suddenly, the cub crawls out of his palm, scurries to the ground, and squeaks a plan to Bamboo Jade. The master needs to be moved inside onto the bed to recover much faster. After all, he said the special mattress was specifically crafted for resting. Besides, their master is not a plant. He does not need photosynthesized light. One of Bamboo Jade's twigs droops, gently patting the tiny cub's head. Such a tiny, weak little creature, yet it sure has quite the temper. Once again, it tells Little Dot to open the door, promising to grow 2 rows of bamboo right here to bring the master back inside. It was a deeply comfortable sleep. His body is still a little numb when he wakes, but nothing slows him down. Fortunately, after a few hours under the blankets, his wounds and negative status have almost entirely faded away. He climbs off the mattress to find the floor scattered with broken bamboo, the pieces turning to firewood as he gathers them. And right outside, even more of it is waiting in front of the house, just as he expected. Hearing him, the cute orange fox comes running from the side, and when he scoops it up, it tries to nuzzle his cheek. He holds Jang Sang against the side of his face, telling the fox he is fine now, and so grateful it got him back into the house and that he will clean up first before they finally eat some lunch.